It's a good question. Who to save if the end of the world comes? You are faced with a choice: save your loved ones, or the love of your life is much more important. At such a moment, people can show their true colors. If everything could be turned back, fate would have taken a different outcome. In this case, all enemies will beg for mercy. The world has been falling apart for 10 years now. The monsters that inhabited the planet possessed incredible strength. Many were ready to give their lives for their loved ones. So, the boy's beloved little sister suffered at the clutches of the monster. For this, the monster quickly lost its head. Ray does not lose hope of breathing new life into her sister. He needed help, but the couple were too self-absorbed. The guy quickly realized that his meeting with the monster was arranged by someone from above. He would have dealt with this setup, but his sister's life worries him more. But the man does not intend to spend any money on his sister's treatment. Then the guy decided to give up the most precious thing for his sister's life. This magnificent ring will be in his hands in any case. Ray doesn't want to tolerate such injustice. He is ready to take a difficult step and kill a man who is akin to a monster. He was attacked much earlier. It costs a man nothing to deal with an already wounded guy and take away everything he has. Ray isn't going to give up his treasure that easily. The ring in the guy's stomach led to an unthinkable outcome. The time rewind was successful. He has time before the disaster begins. Everything was like that day, and the girl was sleeping next to him. He has a huge desire to kill her for all his problems in the future. He now has a chance to save his loved ones and take revenge on all those who have offended him. Here, not the friendliest of men came to take his soul. Chelsea has been playing the innocent lamb, but it's time for that to end. Ray successfully dodges the jealous man's attacks. Living during the end of the world taught him to defend himself. It was the second one's turn to receive his share of blows. He taught them a good lesson about the cruelty of this world. The guy also plucked up the courage to immediately get rid of the ballast in the form of his girlfriend. The end of the world is approaching too quickly, so it is necessary to warn your relatives as soon as possible. Maggie was pleased to hear her beloved brother's voice. Ray, as a military man, began giving orders that could save the girl's life. She believes in the safety of her home, but panic begins to grow. The guy wanted to get through to her, but the broken connection prevented him. He cannot waste a minute in saving innocent lives. It seems that the universe itself is on his side. The energy of the ring led him, surprisingly, to the women's shower room. This was his first encounter with a zombie after being reborn. An axe will always come to the rescue. He managed to take the crystal from the corpse. This time his development was going much faster, so the merchant was waiting for him around the corner. These creatures appeared immediately after the end of the world, and so his first trade began so soon. The crystal in his hands started a fascinating process. With the help of the ring, he was able to find an amazing thing. The guy was distracted from his thoughts by some strange noise. There were still living people here. The girl was not one to be timid. She was ready to kill for her life. Ray decided to take matters into his own hands. They did not realize the full danger that lay before them. In the future, each of them will become the best in their fields. Once again, the guy is hampered by zombies. April lives up to her title and knocks down the enemy with one well-aimed throw. But here, even a blow to the heart is useless. Ray took the final step and did the main thing: he cut off the poor thing's head. April is an incredible marksman, while Sarah can control mutants. In the past, he had gotten into fights with them, but now everything had changed. Sarah, unlike the guy, knew exactly where to look for this stupid crystal. Her curiosity will come back to haunt her someday. Who would have believed that in a new life the enemy himself would offer the guy cooperation? To take revenge on Ray, you will definitely need a team of such people. The guy had to leave the girls so they could finally change their outfits. April just wants to find a safe place and wait for help. Only Ray here correctly assesses the seriousness of the situation. She would like to evolve as quickly as zombies do. The guy has conditions under which he will teach everything he knows. Sarah doesn't doubt his words at all. Relying on her friend, April agreed to everything. Ray had the perfect moment to go ahead and just collect the crystals. He's already gotten used to zombies, so they don't scare him. He knows exactly how to hit. Sarah, just like a scientist, is looking for the reason for the appearance of zombies and crystals. She even wants to study everything in the laboratory. They just have to figure out why this psycho is collecting crystals. The girls were too engrossed in watching the guy. Cody came to the rescue like a prince on a white horse. The girls would like to know how this man found them. Meanwhile, Ray got tired of waiting for them to come after him. Annoying Cody just can't get away from them. Cody wants to hire Ray as his bodyguard. With their conversations, they attracted a group of zombies to them. No one, not even the zombies, pay attention to Cody. Ray can't figure out how they could have gotten into such a trap. Sarah is frightened by what is happening. Only the boy knows that even flowers can cause disaster. The flower calls as many living dead as possible here. Everyone must cover their partner's back. Ray would have watched April throw zombies around for him forever. Cody is not far behind them. He wants to save April himself. He even manages to throw zombies in different directions. Finally, they had the opportunity to enter the building. Cody is a real brat. He is only willing to help his beloved. He doesn't like that April dumped him for some poor guy. Ray will have to rack his brains again about a safe place. He offers the girls to hide while he scatters the corpses. He needs to deal with the mutant flower to stop this zombie uprising, at least for a while. He was too low level to kill the flower. Flower defends himself and all the zombies head towards Ray. It looks like he had a guardian angel. The girls had no intention of abandoning their new friend. Life is an amazing thing. Your enemies from your past life become your comrades in this one. Sarah had the brilliant idea to burn everyone. While some are busy with the fire, April will take the full brunt of it. The oil was ideal for arson. They were surrounded by toxic dust that could paralyze everyone. Cody, like a child, doesn't notice danger and touches everything that's not nailed down. Curiosity punished him. They no longer have the strength to run, but the zombies do not lag behind. Unfortunately, April was infected. Ray would never leave her in such a bad condition. Even though Sarah is slow, she won't abandon her friend in trouble. In the bathroom, he has a chance to help the girl. They all see a merchant who will receive all their collected crystals. For the girls, the guy simply disappeared into thin air. He was busy with trading and even managed to save money. Now he will not waste time and will succeed in many things. This time, no one will dare to approach him and his loved ones. April has little time left for the medicine to work on her. Ray chose the only way to deliver the medicine into the girl's body. Upon returning to the world of the living, she immediately expressed all her dissatisfaction with her treatment. Sarah couldn't contain her emotions because of her happiness. April promised to return all the crystals he had spent. The guy doesn't want to sit any longer. They need to move on. On the way, they met a new version of Cody, a zombie. Ray seems to sense danger and dodges it in time. But Sarah was much less fortunate. He won't let mutants take revenge on his new friends. Poison was sent towards the boy. With the help of the ring, he was able to avoid serious losses. And the monster got his well-deserved blow. Even in the flower, he found crystals. He spoke about mutants absorbing other mutants to evolve. Together, they found a new sprout that inherited all the best from the monster. They have to come back again to bargain. It is possible that now that hammer will appear in his hands. Now he will fight with even greater pleasure. He took care of his girlfriends too. A weapon appeared in April's hands that the guy himself didn't have. He has something that no one else has. Ray is successfully moving towards her goal of revenge. The girl never noticed the changes in the guy. Now he can create the strongest group against the main enemy. He quickly exchanged the old axe for a new weapon. Ray added another small detail that will work against zombies. Girls can't take their eyes off his actions. Sarah would like the same thing done to her scalpel. After some time, each of them received a new knife. With the help of the potion, they will be able to become stronger. The guy does this so that his girlfriends can develop their hidden abilities. Sarah had the idea not to drink it. She was more interested in studying its composition. They immediately felt the energy in their bodies. Finally, they can go looking for the boy's sister. Ray would never abandon her sister in trouble. Unfortunately, the safe dormitory could not withstand the onslaught of zombies. April saw signs of a struggle with the naked eye. Somehow Sarah found Maggie's phone. Unfortunately, the girls fell into a trap in which the monsters were the people themselves. For such people, the end of the world allowed them to do whatever their hearts desired. The guy is ready to take the place of the savior in order to receive gratitude. Maggie can't calm down. Her life is in the hands of a real monster. Ray appeared at the most opportune moment. He will kill everyone who had the courage to touch his sister. The bandits won't allow their people to be treated like this, but they don't know who stands in front of them. They are trying to stop him, but no one can do it. It was a disaster for the bandits. Ray had to take time to calm April down after her first kill. Maggie didn't care. Her brother came to save her. The others want to go with him to be safe. But Ray doesn't need this ballast in the form of a bunch of helpless girls. Sarah, as usual, missed the most interesting part. The sister was found. Now Ray can move on. As the strongest, the guy jumped into the crowd of zombies to clear the way. This is how they managed to get to a supermarket full of food. The girl quickly finds doors that suit them. Everyone is in for an exciting shopping experience during a zombie outbreak. Ray successfully scatters all the zombies. They were lucky to find an empty room filled with food. Only Sarah suspects something is wrong. The zombies outside seem to be deliberately breaking through. It turned out that the blood inside attracts zombies even from a distance. It was determined to be human blood. April feels like someone is deliberately attracting monsters here. Ray and his sister found full backpacks. They can defend themselves. No one suspected that they were being followed. Chelsea is trying her best to deny any connection with her ex. She tells him only the truth. Due to a breakup in the morning, the girl found herself in the clutches of a pervert. Tate didn't lose sight of the glowing gun. Ray prepares to protect the girls with all her might. Sarah wants to find a way to stock up on food for everyone. Chelsea couldn't help but notice the beauty of her ex's new girlfriends. Tate wants to return the favor to Ray. The guy knows they are being watched, so he warns everyone. Ray can use the ring to accumulate food as a new currency. He has a great chance of achieving new results. A knife in the wall prevented him from collecting food. In his past life, Tate was the first one to really torture and break the guy. But this time, Ray will be the one cutting them up. They didn't expect to meet such a strong guy. All Tate can do is spew out various threats. Meanwhile, April dealt with the other bandits. It was time for Tate to fall at his feet and beg for mercy. It was a trap that Ray saw through all too quickly. It's like he uses black magic against all enemies. Tate's people are afraid to be here not because of the zombies, but because of Ray. The guy listened to the tearful story of the poor bandit. He decided to pretend to let him go. Ray took pleasure in sending Tate to hell. The rest bow before him to save their miserable lives. April doesn't want to get any more blood on her hands. He didn't want to, but he had to let them go. Chelsea won't miss the chance to take revenge on the guy for everything that happened to her. The zombies broke through with the help of a magic button. The girl needs to find the remote control as quickly as possible. Ray leaves his sister in the care of others while he deals with the enemies. Sarah is scared herself, but she has to be strong in Maggie's eyes. April was prepared for all the unexpected. Her skills had grown, so she caught the scoundrel with ease. After working with the technology, she will definitely deal with Chelsea. The zombies break through, but Ray doesn't let them go any further. He will have to decide what to do with his ex. Chelsea pretends she just wanted to help them. She supposedly loves Ray more than anyone in the world. The guy quickly came up with a solution to this misunderstanding. Chelsea called for help until her last breath. Maggie doesn't feel any pity for the one who bullied her brother. Everyone understands the cruelty of this decision, but it had to be done. Here they found a place where they could calmly freshen up and breathe out. Everyone feels good. The next day, the bandits wanted to stock up on food, but they were beaten to it. They do not lose hope of finding at least something. Something much more dangerous than zombies awaited them ahead. April had to put off her rest and go out to the strange noise. The bandits, upon seeing her, began to beg for mercy. Ray doesn't intend to waste his time on them, but the bandits don't want to leave empty-handed. They are already imagining how they will eat the stolen food. April won't let anyone get close to her. After the warning attack, the guys got ready to leave. The bandits want to find a safe way to steal other people's supplies. One of them never left. He just happened to meet those guys. They were discussing a safe place when suddenly something nimble passed between them. The cute cat has developed a ravenous appetite. Ray casually pointed out that someone had rustled during the night and taken the remaining food. Maggie couldn't tear herself away from this furry animal. John doesn't want to hear insults towards his cat. The girl begs her brother to take this beauty for himself. Refusal doesn't stop her. Sky attracted the girl so much, but she will have to say goodbye to her. The bandits seem to deliberately attract zombies and then ask for help. They beg not to be abandoned, but the company has other plans. The guys quickly showed their true colors. Ray waited for the vandals to show themselves in all their glory. The three of them tried to protect the backpack. The bandit used cunning and still took the reward for himself. Full of happiness, he was about to leave everyone. The guy doesn't spare his enemies and calmly gives them over to be eaten by zombies. Everyone has to quickly hide in the car, but April stays behind. She will not leave her savior in such a difficult moment. They still have a chance to escape unharmed. A stronger monster appeared in front of them. Ray took charge while the others retreated to a safe distance. April can't sit idle. They are trying to stop her with all sorts of persuasion. The zombie dog almost tore Ray's head off, but he was much stronger. The remaining dogs are not going to let the boy go. April is ready to personally drag him into the car to save his life. First, they need to break away from a whole crowd of dogs. The girl was wounded once again. In her opinion, she only had a small wound. Maggie was infuriated by her calm at such a moment. She loses more and more blood with each passing minute. It is urgent to stop her bleeding and find a cure. John will take everyone to a place where there is everything they need. This time, Ray is obliged to save everyone who sincerely helped him in his past life. They urgently need to find a doctor before the situation becomes critical. John asks to quickly open the doors for the wounded woman. But they are not going to let the girl in, so that new problems do not arise. April was outraged by the suspicion that she might become a zombie. They had a brilliant idea to get crystals for the passage. Ray has enough material to get through. The boys regretted that they asked for so little. They operate according to a well-established scheme that will lead to even greater wealth. But even two won't have enough strength to resist the guy. And literally in a second one of the brothers was dead. The other one was destined to die at April's hands. It was fun, but the girl's wound is making itself felt. Before leaving, Ray asks to search these losers. Maggie was a master at this. Unfortunately, they had so few useful things. John began to worry that he had gotten involved with very dangerous people. At the end of the performance, a man came out and he was pleased. He wants to take this guy into his team. Ray is only willing to discuss everything after helping April. As a result, the order was given to take the wounded to the hospital. Everyone was surprised to see the local medical center. So far, the chief doctor here was this unfriendly man. He demanded a large sum of crystals for the girl's treatment. John doubted the man's conscience. This was a great income for the man. Then the girl who saved Ray's life in the past appeared. Halsey quickly assessed April's severity. Stephen doesn't want to see the girl work for free. It was her sacred duty to help poor people. A man will not allow such behavior in his office. Ray won't stand by while the girl is being bullied. Halsey felt good that someone dared to defend her. The guy cannot allow the girl to suffer in this life. Everyone was shocked by his proposal to start a new relationship at such a difficult time. Halsey isn't going to date just anyone. They need to get to know each other better. The girl was tired of being prevented from helping the poor thing. After some time, the operation was completed successfully. Archie doesn't like that the guests don't want to pay. Ray is willing to pay, but only within reasonable limits. The security didn't like the tone in which their boss was spoken to. They were not prepared for the boy's display of strength. After seeing this, Archie wanted to get the guy even more. However, he cannot leave the guy unpunished. The first thing Ray thought about was Halsey's condition. She could have died again before his eyes, but he was very lucky. Ray knows he could lose this fight. Archie may spare the girl if she fulfills his conditions. The guy can do a lot to improve the team, but he needs enough materials to do so. The man likes what unfolds before his eyes. Maggie can't help but notice how cool her little brother is. Ray, like everyone else, doesn't trust Archie, so she's going to run away. Archie orders everyone to follow the guy almost at the cost of their own lives. Harry will take the boy to another place to begin his work. He won't allow anyone to join Ray. The brother had to calm his sister down. If you fail with a bunch of crystals, the guy will be sent to feed the zombies. What interested the guy most was the firepower of these people. He was shown things that no one but him liked. Ray always liked to work behind the scenes. Harry warned him about the possible dangers that awaited the boy because of his tricks. Ray can't decide what to do first. He was a master of his craft. In one go, the guy went beyond his capabilities. The men are sure that the guy's talent will never replace their work. Harry liked the girls around Ray better. The guy interrupted the conversation and promised to kill everyone who touched his girlfriends. A man doesn't like to hear threats. He was shocked by the brand new sword in his hands. Ray can significantly reduce their costs. Harry decided not to touch such a valuable person, but this does not concern the girls. As expected, the order was to take the boy to his friends. He himself understands that he should receive a reward for his work. It was rude of Ray to barge in without knocking. He needed to bring new equipment to each one. Maggie wanted to have the same treasure chain. She wanted to fill all her space with goodies. The girls also got new weapons. They were glad to have more advanced toys. John was not without protection. Ray also made sure Halsey was always protected. It's time for Archie to check out his new swords. After checking, he noted the quality of the weapon. Harry will do everything he is supposed to, but all his thoughts are occupied with girls. There is no need to worry about this, because Archie will not let anyone go. Early in the morning, the bandits set out to get a new batch of crystals. Ray will gladly accept any gifts for his work. Halsey relayed the message about the scheduled meeting. Ashley would like to see for herself how weapons are made. The guy's strength has not yet recovered for the next job. The girl is ready to wait to get the unique weapon herself. For the first time, her charm doesn't work on a guy. What Ray wanted most was to find a merchant. Ashley offered a large sum for a meeting with him. The price doesn't scare the guy. He urgently needs medicine. The girl brought a man to boost the business. The merchant was on a new level. He should have everything he needed. The guy only has 5 minutes to trade. It was Ray's turn to be on the monster fighting field. The guy will play once, and unexpected prizes may await him. Time moves much more slowly here, and so the battle with the Iron Bear began. Unfortunately, Ray loses on all counts. He needs to find the weak spot that every monster always has. Even hitting such a place brings very little benefit. Somehow, miraculously, he managed to win. Thanks to the battle, he managed to increase his level. The guy finished all his business with the merchant on time. It was decided to search Ray after the purchase. It turned out that the guy was only charged for the meeting, not for the purchases. Ray has to agree to the rules just so his friends are left alone. He still couldn't buy anything. The guy liked the idea of cutting off one of the guards' heads. They will check every inch of his body. As expected, security found nothing. Ray immediately fulfilled his promise and cut off the head of one of them. He is ready to leave anyone without a head for blackmail. Ashley keeps wanting to be the new friend, but she's failing miserably. For the first time, someone dared to reject her. Maggie begins to worry about her brother's absence. Sarah is more worried that their supplies won't last even a couple of days. John admitted that for the well-being of everyone, he reduced his appetite. The appearance of Ray corrects the whole situation. Now they have enough supplies for a quiet time. They worried for nothing, and you can now enjoy your meal in peace. The guy asks not to let anyone in during lunch. Everyone couldn't tear themselves away from the fresh food. In the past, only one person was able to achieve such amazing results in defense. In this world, this is what Ray wants to achieve. Today he found an important stone in a pile of junk. Perhaps he will be able to obtain new properties. But it seems that he hasn't come up with anything new. The sword later revealed its rare mutation. Harry is so reluctant to reward the guy for his work. Archie is going to cheat to keep the reward for himself. Ray completed almost the entire order in a short period of time. With the help of the ring, he can exchange items. Before the next trip to the merchant, I had to give up the crystals. He hopes that the ring will help him. The guy received a great card that needs to be shared. Ashley doesn't lose hope of becoming friends with the guy. Harry decided to take advantage of Ray's absence. He wants to spend time with each of the girls. April isn't going to give up that easily. The man was too strong for any bullets. The girl decided to make sure of this. Harry immediately realized that Ray hadn't shown them all the weapons. He was much faster, so he could easily deal with the annoying bug. They were amazed that the girls tried to resist. Halsey won't let these men near her or anyone else. The girls cannot call for help. Skye was among those who would protect her people. The cat was much more dangerous than everyone else present. Harry promises to crush each one if they don't stop resisting. Unfortunately, there is nothing the rest can do. In the end, everyone ended up in captivity. The hardest thing to catch is a mutated cat. The man wants to get praise from the boss for this brand new weapon. Ashley told about the arrest of his friends. She also warned about the boy's future capture. The girl offers a deal to get something useful. The guy doesn't need any help. He managed to hide when the guards ran to look for him. Ray has an advantage because of his past life. There is no point in him pretending to be a good guy anymore. It's time to try out the new armor. They merged with his body. The girls were carried to prison like sacks of potatoes. They need to come up with something urgently before everyone gets killed. Thanks to the glasses, Sarah found weak spots. We're lucky to have such an analyst on our team. Skye doesn't lag behind and helps get rid of the ropes. Unfortunately, luck was not on their side, and the bandit noticed something strange. He quickly realized that the prisoners were preparing to escape. Skye quickly freed her master. John will punish the one who dared to raise a hand against the girl. The bandit barely restrains himself from shooting the guy. The cat can't stand to see her owner being beaten. The man even threatens the cat. John is ready to lie under bullets just to save Skye. Ray finally showed up. He could hardly control himself so as not to destroy everyone and everything here. The girls are ready to stay here, as long as the guy himself is safe. Ray can't hide from such easy enemies. He is not even afraid of bullets. It was as if the guy himself had become a real monster. The girls had never seen him in such a state, but they were not afraid of him. The enemies despaired and captured his main treasure. But she was not alone, and help came quickly, so he also lost his limbs. No one has a chance to survive against Ray. Archie ruined all escape plans. He was disappointed that his good attitude was not appreciated. The team won't give up so easily. A man is ready to forget about everything if he gets one of the guy's friends. The guy appreciated this offer. April is ready to give her life for her savior. John felt ashamed because it was he who brought them here. Halsey also expressed her desire to stay. Ray never said he would leave his friends here. Sarah found a way for them to escape. The guy will never give up his own. He was strong enough to break through the wall. Archie doesn't want his prisoners to leave this building. John successfully protects everyone from bullets. Ray protects every member of the team. Harry chose the moment to show his power. This power won't help defeat Ray. It was surprising that someone managed to bleed Harry. The guy will do everything to ensure that he never does anything else in this world. Harry showed his true colors. Ray won't even let you get close to him. The poor monster lost its claws. The funny thing is that all his weapons were made from materials from bandits. Harry doesn't believe that something like this could be created from trash. The guy successfully lied to everyone about his powers. While the enemies were pondering their actions, the guy was a minute away from escaping. Harry was so easily deceived and it infuriates him. April wanted to shoot him down, but he was too fast for the mutant. Oddly enough, they need to get into the zombie's lair to escape. Only Sarah understood the essence of this plan. Their car is big. They can simply knock down everyone in their path. Harry will have to defeat others first. He was strong enough to throw them around. The monster will never miss its target. Sarah needs to use the machine's power to the maximum. Something even more terrible blocked their way. The guy wasn't surprised by the presence of a zombie king in this city. Before them appeared the one who thirsted only for blood. Ray wants to be left alone in this trap, and so the zombie and Harry clashed in battle. The team had a chance to escape. It's amazing that they aren't attacked. It's time for them to stop talking about zombies and come up with a new plan. Ray suggested going to a military camp to visit his parents. Friends immediately noticed the change in April's mood. Sarah herself explained that it all had to do with her parents. The guy's main enemy came out of the girl's city. Ray changed his route to finally put his revenge into action. April is grateful to him, even though she doesn't know his true motives. The guy knows that neither he nor his sister should worry about their relatives. The girl began to feel like Ray was courting her. Finally, Ray handed over the card that best suited Halsey. With its help, she will be able to discover a new world. Almost immediately, she felt a sense of strength within herself. To test her abilities, the guy had to hurt himself a little. Halsey quickly figured out how to treat it. Her strength seemed to have left her, but that's normal. Maggie is given the task of taking care of herself, so that others do not waste their energy on her. The girl would like to use medication so as not to lose herself. Ray had to explain what a great sage like her was capable of. After these words, she felt a little better. April is thinking about going to the trade herself. The guy decided to return to where he had escaped with such difficulty. Maggie is already starting to get hysterical about her brother's departure. Sarah, being the smartest, dissuaded everyone from helping Ray. The girl couldn't help but agree that with her powers, she would be useless. The perfect passage into the vault was created for the guy. He quickly dealt with the security. No door will stop him. Now the entire boss's storage belongs only to the guy. Before leaving, Ray decided to give Archie a special gift. Harry is surprised by the guy's impudence. Ray could only gloat over his situation. He has no intention of obeying any longer. In this fight, the guy had the advantage. The enemy can't cope. He urgently needs to run away. But the guy won't let him run away from the battlefield. And then he received his fatal blow. As a reward, Ray received potions to increase his strength. The guy felt a surge of new strength. He was lucky to find a motorcycle. He will be able to quickly catch up with the girls. His ring reacted to the merchant. He wanted to drop in on the trade, but the abandoned car attracted more attention. He had to abandon noisy transport to avoid attracting attention. It seems that people are so hungry that they are ready to eat their own kind. Ray will have to kill them all so that no one else gets hurt. It turned out that they were forced to do this at the cost of their lives. The guy worries about girls most of all. John will tell everything later. Now they need to save their friends. It turned out that even at this time it is possible to hit a person with a car. The guy immediately rushed to her aid. She wanted to attract people's attention so that they would help her father. Despite the screaming, April isn't going to waste any time on this. The rest, on the contrary, supported the idea of going after the child. The girl had to agree with everyone. The man really likes the girl's ability to attract people. For some reason, April couldn't shake off the bad feeling. It turned out that the man was actually feeling ill. Halsey was energized by her new ability. After a couple of minutes, he felt much better. Now they can hit the road. They were about to leave, but the man wanted to confess something to them. Because of the guests, people from the village came to the house. It was a trap they wanted to warn them about. The headman orders to catch everyone. April is ready to blow everyone's head off. The man had to stop everyone. The bandit took advantage of the silence and caught the defenseless woman. The team had to put aside all their weapons. The bandits will do whatever their hearts desire with the team. A man begs for the lives of those who saved his life. Nobody was going to listen to his opinion. Even the one who brought new victims here got it pretty bad. The elder will tear to pieces anyone who does not follow his orders. Now John doesn't know where they need to run. David is ready to help those to whom he owes his life. He told about a tree that the headman could supposedly control. The tree rebelled against people and brutally attacked them. Only the new head of the village was not affected. Everyone had to bow their heads before the new headman. With his knowledge, the guy immediately understood the joke of the tree. Without warning, the guy burst into the house. Meanwhile, the girls could only hope for salvation. April promises to rip a man to pieces with her bare hands if he lays a finger on her. Hope dawned on them. None of the security guards could stop Ray. He will kill anyone who even thinks of touching his people. April was glad that someone was standing up for her for no reason. On the brink of death, the village elder begs for mercy. It was all just smoke and mirrors. He always did what he wanted. The headman chose the wrong person to show off in front of. Ray will not leave the one who mocked the entire village. Others had no choice but to threaten the leader's life. The poor father does not want to lose his daughter and asks for mercy. Claire needs to stop moving if she doesn't want to get hurt. Unfortunately, she was still wounded. Dad was lucky to be around Halsey. Ray asks not to worry and to gather the whole village. It costs the girl nothing to cure the baby. The boy needed the headman as a guide. It was unexpected to meet a merchant here. Sarah was ready to tell the whole story of this tree. They all noticed a creature near the mutant tree. The headman decided to shift all the blame for his behavior onto the merchant. April had to enlighten Maggie about the creature. The tree lost its temper again. The man enjoys his power and scares everyone. Ray really wants to see how the headman does the impossible. A second later, his life was cut short. So the guy proved to everyone that only he could stop the tree. He has one attempt to clear the tree. April keeps wanting to help, but she'll only get in the way. It's better for them to stand aside and stay out of the spotlight. Ray always knows what to do, but this did not help him avoid the blow. His weapon is useless against the mutant. Only April's bullets were able to somehow wound the tree. The guy can't stand still if he wants to survive. He will have to resort to extreme measures. The tree was burned with special water. He had time to make a deal. No one doubted that Ray would be able to calm the tree. The residents were amazed by the result. He spent enough to develop himself and the team. Everyone bowed their heads before the great man. Sarah, like everyone else, was fascinated by his work. Ray bought potions for each team member. April can't stop thinking about the guy's special feelings for her. Now they will all become a little stronger. Everyone had different sensations after the potion. The guy took care of his little sister so that she would no longer be afraid. Sarah was not lacking in ability. The girls changed, and it was wonderful. Sarah heard the voice of the tree in which new life was born. This seedling will go on a journey with the team. She promised the tree to make a weapon from its roots. It was amazing that the man spoke calmly to the tree. She immediately passed on the information about the weapon to Ray. He can't help but take advantage of this. Finally, they can leave this village. A resident offers to throw a dinner for all the help they have received. They began to tearfully beg Ray to stay. As a result, they had their first quiet evening since the end of the world. It's a pity that they can't forget about the disaster in the world. They must remember this evening. And so they arrived in April's hometown. Sarah was glad that Ray was with them, who made the whole journey easier for them. What April wants most is to see her parents. Maggie was attacked by a zombie, but now she is not such a weak girl. The new baby showed himself in action. John stood up for the girls. Sarah assessed all the zombies in the city. Together they will quickly deal with all the monsters. They work as one. Ray couldn't tear himself away from the amazing team he had assembled. Meanwhile, Maggie was collecting such important and expensive crystals. They tried to attack them, but they were faster. Sarah told April which direction to aim, so she quickly found someone who wasn't shy about shooting at people. The girl admitted that she wanted to kill them all. Ray was her crystal thief. It took her a long time to kill the zombies, but the team did it. Christy was supposed to buy medicine with this stolen crystal. April believes her words. She is even willing to share materials. Ray remembered those powerful sisters. Christy is ready to face her death for all her actions. The guy is lucky too often, he begins to believe in fate. April sees the guy's strange behavior once again. She wants to break him. Ray would be a fool not to take advantage of the moment with her sisters. He offers the help of his healer. Christy won't let just any gang help her sister. The white crystal in her hands changed her opinion about the guy. April decided to get her confession using logical reasoning. Christy agreed with her. She could always kill them anyway. She led them to the right place. The boy's ring gave a signal about the merchant. The girl was glad to see the one who had disappeared for a whole week. Kate and her friends are ready to attack the intruders. John reacted to the danger with lightning speed. Christy explained the whole situation as quickly as possible. The girl will follow the team, but she will not threaten them for now. Their cooperation can bring positive results. Kate knows her wounds cannot be healed. While she is still able to work, she enjoys her sister's care. The guy blames himself for the lack of materials. Christy doesn't want her sister to sacrifice herself for others. Ray is willing to share the crystals if he is allowed to meet the merchant. Kate doubts that the guy has such a large sum. She was immediately provided with everything she needed. It was strange that they gave her the most precious things so easily. The sisters were even more surprised that the guy needed them. The whole team was offended by Ray's desire. Kate can help, but she won't be on his team. There are a lot of groups here, and you don't want to be under anyone's control. Ray promised not to tell anyone about their dealer. An antidote might be found in him. The guy managed to get his hands on some crystals, so he's in for a good deal. He spent money again, but it will do him good. Every day he gets closer to his goal. Upon his return, a surprising picture awaited Ray. That unfortunate man still converted. But the antidote didn't help him. April can protect everyone present. Even bullets don't stop the new convert. The zombie doesn't notice anyone except the poor sisters. It was all over, as the antidote didn't help any of them. Maggie was confident that she could save the girls, but this was not the case. Luckily for her, Ray covered the girls' backs. The guy had to spend time explaining that in times like these, you only need to protect your own skin. He doesn't want to hold her dead body in his arms again. Sarah was the lead scientist on the team, so the study of the substance fell on her shoulders. Christy doesn't want to see her sister turn into a monster. With each passing minute, Kate finds it increasingly difficult to contain herself. Christy asks the healer for help. It turned out that Sarah had the most ordinary medicine in her hands. The lack of a cleaning agent surprised the guy. Kate almost lost herself. With her last strength, she asks to kill herself before anyone gets hurt. Christy is ready to die with her. There may be a chance to save her. The girl can take the hit so that the others have time to escape. Ray was tired of standing on ceremony, so it was time for brute force. After some time, Kate's consciousness returned. John can remove his shield. The girl doesn't remember anything, even though the transformation happened a couple of minutes ago. It's unclear how, but the guy saved both of them. Ray shared the medicine he had bought a long time ago. A truly expensive product was spent on Kate. Misfortunes never come alone. The man reported that their territory was being seized. Christy doesn't want her sister to enter the fight so early. Ray doesn't plan to help, but things could change. The bandits successfully took advantage of the difficult situation of the leader of this base. But their luck ran out. Kate saved herself and her powers. Their whole plan began to fall apart. The girl was amazed at such impudence to attack while she was transforming. Unfortunately, her image of a strong girl was destroyed. The brothers continue to believe that they can win. They will not miss the chance to enslave this territory to achieve greatness. Kate's situation is getting worse by the minute. Christy will always come to the rescue. The bandit had to resort to tricks and let the girl go. They threw dust in the girl's eyes so that they could get rid of the weapons. Once again, the whole situation is under the control of bandits. As requested, Ray came out of the shadows. But does this make sense? The girls are happy that at least someone is ready to save them just like that. With every cell of his body, Oliver feels something is wrong when he sees the guy. Ray has excellent assistants, whom he hides until the last. Somehow the bandits realized that the guy was not alone here. Ray's side opened fire. He himself was quickly protected from bullets. Maggie is always ready to cover her brother's back. The bandits were confident in their strength, but this confidence turned out to be their big mistake. Oliver didn't expect to see anyone else with superpowers. April hit all of her targets without any difficulty. Christy almost lost the closest person in her life. The man didn't think that there could be such strong people on the side of their enemies. The girl simply got lucky. He was forced to confess who his informant was. He said enough before he died. Kate owes her life to Ray. The guy easily turned everything to his advantage. Christy, like the others, is ready to lay her life at the guy's feet. He just wanted to help them. The girl has a new goal, to bring benefit to Ray's life. The people at the base were grateful for the rescue. Maggie wasted no time in letting them know about their new sisterhood. Ray decided to share something valuable with the girl to make her stronger. He didn't regret the money spent on it. What surprised me most was Christy's reaction. Maggie and April experienced a storm of emotions at the sight of the kiss. The guy bought something that some people couldn't even dream of. She was definitely not mistaken about him. Christy immediately tried out her new powers on the one who tried to kill her. April was left alone on the team without superpowers. Meanwhile, Halsey was busy treating the wounded. Ray needs to hurry to help find April's parents. In exchange for all the help received, Kate will do a favor. Maggie also wants to go with everyone. He has a less dangerous task for his little sister. Everyone was speechless when they heard about the food. Maggie will have to feed each new member of their team. It was the least the guy could do for everyone. Because of the end of the world, people sold everything they could for food. After a hearty lunch, Kate was ready to set off on her journey. The girl protected the guy from all the zombies that they met along the way. Here she met zombies of various levels. Ray had to rack his brain to remember April's words. Unfortunately, the place the guy wanted to go to was not yet explored by the girl. The only thing Kate knows is that the people there are much more united than at her base. As soon as they started talking about zombies, he immediately attacked them. The girl protects Ray with all her might. It was the perfect moment to teach Kate. With one clue, she delivered the killing blow. Everyone will have to undergo special training soon. Ray wants everyone to be prepared for danger. He does everything for the good of his people. Maggie is completely confident that she is capable even without training. Then Ray decided to conduct a little test. By her ignorance, she proved that preparation was necessary. It turned out that no one had studied their abilities, which was a big mistake. April begins to develop an inferiority complex. But the guy remembers her, he just hasn't found the right ability for her. She needs to get her thoughts together because some people have more serious problems. The guy told about each stage of preparation. Sarah felt like they had done all this before. Ray will take the time to help everyone move forward. Halsey was terrified by the idea of working separately, but she cannot argue with his correct thoughts. The girls understand that they can only survive by following the guy's orders. He plans to start this very evening. Everyone was given orders, but Maggie heard nothing about her brother's actions. He has things to do, of course. He wanted to explore the city's territory. On the way, he met a powerful boar. It was an ideal chance to gather new materials for weapons. But he needs to be careful with this mutant. The guy will finally be able to test the limits of his abilities. Ray came across a rather strong monster. He had a lot of experience in fighting, so this boar with its strength would not be an obstacle for him. He just needs the crystal. Unfortunately for the guy, the boar in front of him grew taller and stronger. Ray needs to be 100 times more careful. The guy was planning what to do with it, but someone stopped him. The men came across a great catch. They won't let the guy take their reward. The grenades in front of his face don't scare the guy at all. The men were unable to do everything quickly. Charlie suggests simply splitting the profits. His brother is shocked by such a proposal when they can simply kill Ray. The guy doesn't like all this. His loot was stolen, so he won't give up so easily. Derek isn't going to share things like that with just anyone. He chose the wrong person to argue with. Ray will bring about their end. But the guy didn't expect that his blow would be stopped by the shield. There was no one yet who could harm Charlie in any way. He will definitely kill the one who harmed his younger brother. These guys are nothing compared to Ray. Charlie is not afraid of this battle. Both had bodies protected from stabbing wounds. It takes a lot of effort to kill him. Ray did all this on purpose to study his opponent. Charlie had no idea what a trap he had fallen into. Soon Charlie himself will go to the next world. Suddenly bullets flew through Ray. It was the last thing Charlie could do. Derek is ready to tear the guy to pieces for his brother. Ray can easily withstand any danger. It was Derek's turn to receive his share of blows. The guy was able to regain his strength, but in the future he may not be able to cope. He returned to base a little battered. Kate can't help but admire the guy's strength not only in front of zombies, but also in front of people. She had to tell the guy the bad news. The guy's training session went so-so. The bad thing is that he didn't see all the team members. Christy blames herself for the failure. Sarah told about an unsuccessful battle in which John took the blow. But he is not so easy to kill. Ray had to sacrifice the healing drug. John felt good that someone was caring about him just like that. He'll have to endure a little to get back on his feet. Getting rid of the pin was painful, but that's not all. Sarah knows where Halsey is, but she never returned. The guy will have to save her. He left John with the girls. Ray realizes that something truly serious must happen for the girls to be in danger. It turned out to be a real massacre. April can barely stand on her feet, but her friends' lives depend on her actions. Human-shaped monsters were far more dangerous than ordinary mutants. The girl will fight to the last to avoid falling into the clutches of the monster. For refusing, Tate ordered fire to be opened. April blames only herself. She led everyone to inevitable death. She has a chance of survival if the bandit agrees to the deal. Ray has to stand aside so the girl can show herself. Tate accepted the fight offer. He will happily crush this confident bug. The girl believes that she can win and leave alive. There's no one in this place stronger than Tate in hand-to-hand combat. They were on the same level, but the man was superior to April on all fronts. He even enjoyed fighting like this. It's time for Ray to step into this battle. They immediately wanted to shoot him. The appearance of the guy made Tate decide to end this whole circus as soon as possible. The girl thought about her advantage. It only now dawned on her that she had no equal in speed. She quickly delivered a variety of blows, but all these blows could do nothing to Tate. The girl decided to use a tactic that no man could survive. She, like everyone else, knows every man's weak spot. The fight wasn't over yet. April will gladly take it out on him for all the suffering he caused. His people can only watch as their master is beaten. Even with her weaknesses, April was a tough one to beat. Ray watched the girl's progress with interest. Unfortunately, April heard a voice she hoped never to hear again. Tate has not yet lost his strength to fight. He had to transform himself to show his full power. But in this form, it made you want to laugh more. April had a hard time holding back her laughter. The girl's reaction infuriated him more than anything else. Now the advantage was on his side. Tate is like death walking, coming for April. The monster promises to take care of the girl's body. Before she died, April recalled her childhood training. It seems like someone went to save her. But the father was going to teach a lesson in responsibility. The girl was taught to be responsible for all decisions made. This memory allowed her to gain strength. She had practice with various fighting techniques. Tate was not pleased that such techniques were used against him. April showed that she is not to be underestimated. She literally broke Tate, and that meant she had won hands down. He had to admit defeat to survive. All this means is that she must leave without a fight. What worries her most is what Ray will think when he looks at her. She couldn't contain her emotions and showed him her mood. But Tate is not so easy to defeat. He attacked as soon as he woke up. But Ray turns the battle in his favor. Only on the brink of death did Tate begin to beg for mercy. It was no use. The guy doesn't believe what's happening. April immediately pointed to him as the one to blame for their situation. Ray is ready to let him go. Sam needs a new patron. Without the old master, he will die. April even felt sorry for her opponent. In the end, he agreed to accept him and kill him if anything strange happened. Sam will do everything for the benefit of the new owner. As a gentleman, Ray wants to help a tired April. The girl is confident that she has enough strength to reach the base. However, it only took her a couple of steps to kiss the ground. The guy still had to carry her. Meanwhile, Sam was bringing the girls to their senses. They have no idea why they suddenly fell asleep right on the battlefield. The guy offered them a sincere apology for his superpower. April reassured them that the whole mess had ended in their favor. Ray came here to see their work and helped out at the same time. Halsey promises herself to gain experience so that this does not happen again. Suddenly, the guy felt something ahead. His ring began to react. He had to leave the team for a while to meet with the merchant. Sam will protect the lovely ladies at the cost of his life. Maggie doesn't want to be separated from her brother anymore. She promises to be by his side always. They hadn't spent time together for a long time, so this was a happy moment for them. The guy was lucky to find a random exchanger. Even the girl noticed how different it was from the ones she had seen. She liked his ability to teleport. This was the girl's first deal. Maggie had her crystals, so she has a right to be here. Ray wants to show her something interesting. He found the perfect card for April. Maggie decided to buy it herself and make it a gift. After purchasing it, she was thrown into an empty, cold room. The time has come for the boy to test the ring's abilities. He found a magnificent and extremely rare communication item. Maggie spent her free time exploring this abandoned library. A month ago she was a student, and now she has to fight zombies. She remembers those times with warmth. Ray startled her while she was lost in her thoughts. He again heard the question that he still couldn't answer. The boy gave his sister hope that the world could still be restored. Maggie is so looking forward to this day. She also wants to see the expression on April's face after such a long-awaited gift. The girl was wounded again. She can't just run away from the enemies. Sam is confident that with him the girl doesn't have to fear enemies. Halsey is trying to cure the girl at the expense of her own health. The guy never stops asking for forgiveness for all his bad deeds. April knows that everyone here is just trying to survive. He wants to atone for his guilt. During the breaks, the girl told a little about her parents. Sam didn't want to scare her that many people had died in her part of town. April believes that her parents are still alive. Suddenly it dawned on the boy that there was a coincidence between her father and one hero. The girl doesn't really understand his reaction, but answers all the questions. Sam told about the most powerful man with the same name. Ray changed this world in such a way that new forks appeared. April had no doubt that her father would survive. The girl couldn't contain her emotions when she saw her father's photograph. She is finally close to him. Now Sam wants to worship the daughter of the god of thunder. The guy told everyone that they could proceed with the next plan. He will do everything to find his father. Halsey reminded them that they can't cope even here. Ray agrees with this, but they can't help but do it. He will give everyone time to recuperate. Maggie remembered the gift with such enthusiasm. April was given the most suitable ability. Ray didn't forget about her. That was what was surprising. With this ability, the girl will be able to become a master of her craft. The surprises for her didn't end there. The guy improved her weapon. Sam never ceases to admire Ray's uniqueness. He is amazed that such manipulations are taking place before his eyes. The guy wants to get his hands on a similar weapon, but it's impossible. Ray can only help with the weapons if he does all the dirty work. He is ready to kiss his owner with happiness. It turns out that only April can use the new weapon. Maggie decided to prove otherwise, but she didn't find a bullet in the gun. Ray intends to do everything to grow a real pro. April is amazed by such attention to her person. The weapon in her hands was like an extension of her body. With him, a girl is capable of a lot. Now Maggie is her biggest fan. The guy was tired of hearing praise directed at him. The mechanism in Halsey's hands surprised her with its simplicity. It was unexpected when she heard voices in her head. Maggie easily explained the operation of the device, which would make their work easier. Now they don't have to be afraid of losing each other. They are facing a new operation, which not everyone will undergo. Christy has to leave her sister, but she doesn't want to. Ray leaves at the base those who can calmly protect everyone. Kate and John promise to live up to all expectations. The rest should be prepared for possible adventures. April will do anything to find her father. Sam was sent to scout out the area because he was the only one who knew everything here. This is an ideal chance for him to prove himself to his owner. On the way, he met a gang whose members were quite strong. Sam started talking nonsense to avoid being bothered. The bandit decided to teach the thief a lesson. Meanwhile, Sarah suggests doing something for Ray's own well-being. They all heard a heart-rending scream. They had to quickly rush to help. Maggie suggests moving everyone to cut down on time. The girls are looking for a way to move as quickly as possible. At Sarah's request, Halsey, as the lead healer, must be in the lead. Who would have thought that Sam would find himself in such a difficult situation? The guy continues to resist and make threats. Maggie came up with a plan on how they could help without getting hurt. Ethan enjoys dealing with all the Sam-shaped bugs. He himself wants to see the owner who must deal with him. Finally, Ray showed up. Maggie wasted no time in trying to save the poor guy. Ethan won't let his victim get away that easily. The guy stopped him from attacking with his unique weapon. The bandits did not regret going out for a walk today. Isaac loves fate, which sends them such valuable gifts. Ray can handle everything here himself. He doesn't need any help. The guy is surprised that these four united so quickly. The boys don't want to leave their brother alone, but they were given the order to leave, despite the danger of the situation. These were old acquaintances of the guy, so he should meet them himself. The men are already arguing over which one of them will take the guy's weapon. Michael intends to kill the guy with just one blow. Ray knows in advance how he will be beaten. All of Michael's attacks have been studied in the past. Isaac has spent a lot on his development, but he is far inferior to the guy. He had to take responsibility for Ray's murder. He didn't expect that he himself might be attacked. That's why Isaac missed so awkwardly. The girls would never leave the guy to fight alone. Troy, as a womanizer, is ready to take them on. He is not afraid of the weapons used against him. The girls will have to find a way out. Their plan fell apart in a split second. Ray won't let anyone bully his friends. Each one was grateful for being saved when it was they who should have been the ones doing it. The guy will gladly cut the enemy with his best sword. Of all the gang, only Ethan sees all the advantages of Ray. He himself will be the cause of Ray's death. It was a battle of the strongest. The guy noted Ethan's constancy at all times. Ethan felt a little sorry for getting involved in this battle. No matter how strong and invincible Ray looked, it was hard for him. The guy has to shut the girls up because they whine. They want to get the healer they need so much. Troy wants to accomplish this feat himself. Ray is surprised that such a worthless person expects anything. One hit and Troy was seriously injured. He must obey all orders if he wants to survive. The guy gave them some time during which they could get out of here alive. Ethan takes it all as a joke. His confidence in victory did not fade. Ray admitted to the team's weaknesses, but everything will be corrected soon. Ethan was amused by the boys' impossible wishes, and so the remaining members of the team appeared here to help the leader. Maggie asks to help Sam first. Halsey has no business here. She needs to go to the others. Sam suffered so much because of someone else's mistake. The reinforcements have undermined the bandits' faith, and it seems that luck is not on their side. Ray suspects that his reincarnation is the reason everything went wrong. In fact, bandits may not hide their true strength. They waited a long time to show themselves in all their glory. The guy will have a hard time in the battle. Now the magic sword can do nothing to Troy. Michael was so eager to show off his skills. It will be difficult for the girls to avoid a direct attack on them. Christy defends both herself and Sarah as best she can. But it's not only people who have powers, the baby also showed his abilities. It was difficult to get through the branches of Sirius, but it was possible for Michael. The explosion damaged the girls' clothes, but they themselves remained unharmed. It was the perfect moment for Michael to attack. Unfortunately, there was nothing Ray could do to help them now. April took on this task. Meanwhile, Isaac ruined the whole picture for the girl. But an unexpected figure decided to help April. The father will never allow anyone to hurt his daughter. Michael also encountered an obstacle in his path. Ray had a hard time in this fight. However, he manages to resist him. Troy hid for a long time in order to give the guy an unforgettable surprise. And people who can resist come to Ray's aid. The man assessed the attempts to attack Ray. All members of the Bloody Rose team came against the bandits. It was a big mistake for Ethan to attack such important people. Henry is ready to continue fighting if the enemies do not calm down. Troy has no intention of stopping now that he's almost won. Ethan had to personally bring him back to his senses. He understands that his gang is not in an advantageous position, but all this will remain in his memory. The guy believes that Bloody Rose doesn't have long to live. Henry, however, has a different opinion. Finally, Ethan decided to lure Ray to his side. He wants to gather the strongest to create a powerful base. The guy could only laugh at this proposal. Troy wanted to join the fight again, but he urgently needed a rest. Ethan warns that Ray's team will find itself at rock bottom in the future. It's time for them to go. Troy still doesn't understand why they surrendered without a fight. It had to be explained to Ethan like a child that they could all die here. All they need to do is wait until all the enemies are dead. This battle led to a long-awaited reunification. This bright moment for the girl was overshadowed by the absence of her mother. At Rose's base, she was told that her mother was not there. Her father reassures her that she will definitely not return empty-handed. Henry asks his daughter to rest while they have time. Maggie envies April and misses her own parents. Ray senses a catch in Henry's words, but it doesn't concern him. Rooms have been prepared for them where everyone can rest peacefully. Before his vacation, Ray would like to buy some new goods. Because of the guy's importance, Peter can fulfill his request. He offered to make new equipment for everyone at the base in exchange. Peter appreciated his proposal with dignity. The newest exchange office was located here. Ray can find a lot of interesting things there. For Rose, the appearance of Ray and his weapon is comparable to a gift from heaven. The guy saw many untouched titles. He chose a strong enemy for himself. For the first time, he will have to fight several opponents here at once. The first knight quickly went out of action. Surprisingly, Ray makes quick work of the knights. Apart from numbers, they had no other advantages. By killing the horseman, the boy can become even stronger. Ray overestimated his abilities, and the constant battle tired him out. But everything comes to an end. For some reason, the guy was never kicked out of the system. A meeting with the chief horseman awaited him. A strange energy emanated from him, like the end of the world. Ray will have to fight with all his might. It will be a tough battle, but his victory is possible. It turned out that the enemy was much stronger than the guy imagined. He wished he had the same speed as this rider. The enemy was preparing to impale the guy on a spear. Ray saw them rushing towards him with a fatal blow. The horseman beat him so hard that the boy remained alive. No one has ever come this close to killing Ray after his rebirth. As a result, the probability of his victory is 0. Ray decided to test the theory with a cleansing potion. The guy saw the rider's fear because of this liquid, but he has little strength to resist him in any way. Ray used his last chance with water, hoping that he would have enough strength. He has to take every blow to stay on course. Surprisingly, the potion hit its target. It worked too well. All this led the guy to the idea that someone is behind everything that happens in the world. The test has finally come to an end. For all his suffering, the guy received a good reward. It was as if Ray had been reborn and had become much stronger. What awaited him next was a mutation of superpowers. The guy restored his health before his next shopping trip. Another gift from the ring was waiting for him. The joke is that he didn't have enough money for a new potion. It turned out that he also needed to change his clothes. Peter appreciated the changes the guy had made in the exchange office. Ray asked to be assigned some tests. The man will do this only in exchange for a new weapon. The guy himself has conditions for fulfilling their deal. The man will easily provide everything necessary to create a weapon. The guy had to quickly improve it to prove its usefulness. For the people here, Ray can do incredible things. Peter absolutely loves it all. He immediately provided an advance payment for the work. Now the man is confident in the security of his base. Another deal completed and we can move on. Ray was brought to a warehouse filled with unique materials. He immediately began creating unique instruments. The guy didn't forget about his weapon. He had to abandon the original, not very profitable idea. In the end, he had to deal with clothes. Ray made the right choice. He generously gave gifts to everyone present at the base. Peter immediately gave him the promised share. They were both happy with this collaboration. Everyone received a potion to increase their strength. Ray told them about a deal that would benefit them all. They all need to recuperate after a difficult journey. He also showed them a universal storage place for all their equipment. April took a liking to the flying cannon. Maggie got her hands on a blade that could cut through everything in its path. Sarah now has her first offensive weapon. Even Sam wasn't left out. The girls received strange clothes as a present. Sarah and April will have to pass tests to add strength to the team. Christy and Sam will set out on a journey to join the other team members. Maggie is looking forward to being given a task too. They promised to tell her everything after she took the drug. She did everything quickly, just to hear the assignment. The most important thing for the guy is that his sister stays alive in any situation. After a while, the base began to shake, as if an earthquake had begun. Ray was informed of an intrusion into his territory. The Heavenly Wheel team is confident in its invincibility. Lucy expects them to be welcomed with open arms. Luke, like everyone else, was excited about the upcoming event. Henry won't let his base be attacked by a pack of bandits. Lucy makes him one last offer to join them. No one would have the strength to kill Henry because of a refusal. Only Peter seems to realize the seriousness of the situation. The man will show the full power of his team. Steve took on this upstart. Henry has a shield, of course, but he has too many grenades. Ray and his men came to the rescue. Henry will teach a lesson to all who are self-confident. Lucy entered the fight. In principle, a man doesn't care who he hits first. The enemies were hit by a true blow from the God of Thunder. Halsey both admires Henry and fears his strength. He hasn't shown all of his skills yet. But his blow was deflected, it seemed, by hair. Peter was not prepared for such enemy protection. The situation was dangerous, but Maggie was most interested in Lucy's hair. She could provide Henry with a lot if he agreed. But now Steve will do everything to make him choke on his grenades. Henry will never obey anyone. He immediately rushed into battle, despite all the warnings. Lucy knows in advance that victory will be on her side. The hair created a prison for him. While the moment was present, the bandits set their sights on Peter. But he was not defenseless. He too would have to stretch his bones. He swallowed all the grenades with ease. Ray didn't expect the man to want to snack on them at such a moment. Almost immediately, everything exploded around him. Maggie rushed to help, but she kept forgetting about her weakness. She doesn't care about it. She can't stand aside. Steve is happy to deal with the insignificant girl. She can't hide behind others forever. She managed to both repel the grenades and reach St. Petersburg. Seeing all this, Steve did not regret coming here. Wherever the girl moved, Steve found her. It's time for the guy to enter the fight with renewed vigor. Steve was not at all prepared for the showdown at this base. There were too many strong people here. Now a guy doesn't have to engage in a fight when there are such strong girls here. Steve is confident that no one can survive his grenade attacks. April was too good a shot to miss a single grenade. However, there were still grenades flying straight at her. But the girl did it on purpose, so that others would show themselves too. Now Sarah can also take part in battles. Who would have thought that Steve would suffer from himself? Everyone will have to face Sarah's wrath if they harm her friends. Ray is pleased to see that the girls are finally realizing the state of this world. The girl was ready to fight, but she was stopped. The hair was enough to stop her. Lucy is even offended that she is still not taken seriously. April wants to shoot everyone. The girl was tired of reminding everyone that all attacks were pointless. April doesn't lose hope of penetrating her armor. It seems Lucy needs to show everyone her strength. Henry doesn't want to see his daughter die before his eyes. April isn't going to leave her friends in trouble. The hair reached her too. Lucy is glad that her victim continues to struggle. It was incredible that she was so forcefully refused cooperation. Maggie wants to help everyone, but her brother won't let her. It's not just Ray holding her and not joining the battle himself. He wants his people to learn a lot through pain and blood. Meanwhile, Lucy continues to torment her victims. She wants to prove the insignificance of a man. She showed everyone the weakness of the owner of this base. Sarah still doesn't understand why Ray never helped them. Lucy became interested in the presence of another commander here. Ray came quickly as soon as I called him. This battle will be decisive in the guy's career. This isn't the first time Lucy has torn off the wings of such commanders. Ray will let himself be hit to make the battle at least a little more interesting. Halsey tries her best to warn him about the attack. The guy easily dodged the hair. All his improvements showed themselves in all their glory. Lucy would like to wear such equipment herself. She was told the bad news that this is not only the guy's problem. This doesn't frighten her. Soon her people will be supplied from head to toe. They intend to kill everyone who rebelled against them. Sarah immediately felt the poison in her body. Her skin felt like it was burning. Henry will blame himself for his daughter's suffering for the rest of his days. The guy has no more reason to hold back. Lucy was expecting this. Her plan is working just fine. The poison that surrounded the boy was actually acid. Even without armor, the guy won't be so easy to break. The situation was getting out of control. The poison was spreading throughout the boy's body. Ray figured out Lucy and her plan. The girl appreciated his intelligence, but it was too late. The most powerful force is in her hands. No more unnecessary words. Everyone will die here. People accept their end with dignity. Those who are still able intend to run away from here. Maggie believes in her brother and will never run away like a rat from a ship. After the girl's words, they seemed to get a second wind and began to believe in victory. Everyone believes in Ray, in his powers. The time has come for him to reveal the true nature of his abilities. The couple imagines a chic evening after defeating the Bloody Rose. They were calm and missed the moment when something appeared in front of them. Lucy panics and tries to break through the ice, but she can't. Nobody expected the guy to be capable of something like this. Lucy just has to wait for Ray to fall at her feet. This was not the last surprise from him. To move around even with poison, he has a wonderful pet. Ray had little chance to use the horse, and he decided not to waste it. The attack distance was perfect. The people at the base hear desperate screams, and goosebumps run down their spines. Halsey has a hard time keeping Maggie from jumping into the unknown. When the ice broke, Ray emerged with the others, virtually uninjured. Maggie had no doubt that her brother would win. He decided to get rid of those who would not bring anything good. Halsey healed what she could, but the poison was beyond her power. Luke can rid everyone of the poison in exchange for helping his boss. Halsey will have to treat her enemies too. Ray will not tolerate any threat against her. Luke is the only one who can revoke the poison, so he can set any conditions. Maggie resorted to extreme measures and began making threats herself. She could easily slit his boss's throat. Halsey herself promised to arrange Luke's life in such a way that he would dream of death. Ray gives him a chance to make things right. Luke tries to do everything carefully, but it will still hurt. The man barely held back his scream in front of the girls. Sarah would like to study this toxin. April was thinking more about the loss of her new toy than about the pain. After a while, it was Ray's turn. Luke took the guy hostage at the cost of his boss's life. Ray sees love for Lucy in the guy's eyes, so she doesn't touch him. He shouldn't hide his feelings because it's all written on his face. Luke will do anything to get them released. After some time, Lucy regained consciousness. She doesn't like that behind her back her own people are helping their enemies. Luke was simply fulfilling the terms of the deal. The girl was furious. She didn't need anyone's help. Somehow, Lucy revealed the secret that Henry had been so desperately hiding. Luke wanted to stop her with all his might, so that this place would not eventually become their grave. Henry was useless in this situation. He waited for death to meet him. But Lucy herself was wounded. Ray didn't even think about holding back because of the attack on his own people. Once again, she was prevented from completing her task. Luke is ready to suffer, if only his mistress remains unharmed. He urges her to turn to common sense. The girl's dignity was offended, so she simply had to kill everyone. Even though his heart was broken, he will not let the lady die before him. Ray became even more disappointed in her, so he didn't feel sorry for her. She deserved all this. Even before her death, she spoke about her beloved. Luke could barely contain himself. He had to tell Ray everything so that he could at least take the girl's body. The Heavenly Ring needs a lot of cannon fodder to accomplish its goal. The guy learned everything he needed to know. Now Halsey can get to work. Luke doesn't need this. He wants to lie in the same grave with her. The love of his life died in his arms. It was surprising for the girls to see such strong feelings during the disaster. Finally, Ray asked to fulfill Luke's request. They all need to be strong after what happened. They need to do something to stop thinking about bad things. He noticed that after all this, his sister had become much more mature. Henry had to bring April to her mother, even though the picture was terrible. Not everyone can bear such a picture. April simply couldn't help but approach her, despite all the danger. Even Ray doesn't let her go any further. She shouldn't go to meet a zombie, even if it's her mother. The guy understands the gravity of the situation, but he can't lose his head. Maggie told everyone about a cure that could cure zombies. They have a chance to bring the woman back into this world. The family couldn't believe there was a chance of reunion. It was all in vain. The mother recalled what difficult times she had. Her husband was a disgusting person, and Grandma added fuel to the fire. All these feelings of helplessness did not leave her for a minute. The situation is out of control. Everyone better hide. The guy sees how much the woman's anger has increased. For safety, everyone must leave the premises. He doesn't have time to explain everything. They just can't handle it. Henry and April tried to shout to their loved one. The woman finally let out her anger at her husband. She won't leave her daughter alone either. Ray is ready to kill someone who simply looks like his own mother. But April won't allow this to happen, even though she understands everything. It's not so easy to let go of your mother, even if she is a zombie. She just wanted to see her and tell her how much she loved her. This was the first time in his 2 lives that such a picture had unfolded before Ray's eyes. The woman seemed to remember her daughter, but it was fleeting. I had to grab her so April wouldn't get hurt. Ray had to be told rudely that words wouldn't help here. In this situation, Ray took on the role of the elder and carried everyone away. But he shared about the possibility of his mother returning to the living. It's lucky that everyone was able to hide. Thanks to this incident, Ray realized what exactly the Heavenly Ring was looking for. If there is a possibility, we are ready to cooperate with the guy. To achieve their goal, both the guy and everyone else must become much stronger. Maggie reminds us of the difficulty of this task. Ray can do some things himself, but he'll need help to do it. He didn't succeed in his past life, but now he's ready to rob the park. They had to lie in wait to avoid running into zombies. They heard good news that people had returned to base. Sarah needs to study the plants in this park. She scanned everything except one area that looked like a black hole. There are either no living beings there, or something powerful is there. The girl is frightened by the guy's enthusiasm. Ray is going to go to this very place for treasure. Sarah had to agree with him because of their possible development. Still, it seems to her that there is no one here. But the beast decided to show itself in all its glory. The girl knows everything about such snakes, but this mutant scared her. Now is not the time to quote textbooks, we need to act. Sirius will not watch his people being attacked. It was amazing, but difficult. Sirius has grown a lot since his arrival. Sarah never ceases to notice the oddities of the snake, which attract her so much. With this crystal, the guy can modify equipment. Despite their joy, they need to move on in search of the necessary materials. They came to a place full of rare flowers and plants. There is no chance that he will be able to use them, but there is no need to despair. Sarah must study the remains of the drug in order to create a counterfeit. The girl can reveal a secret that will make everyone stronger. At this time, Ray collected everything that caught his eye. She can definitely create a copy of the drug. One day she stole the purifying water for her own research. She was ashamed, but now the woman's life depended on this water. In fact, Ray allowed her to do it. Some plants refused to go to the guy, but that was not his problem. They tried to attack him, but he has good ice armor. He continued to defend himself from the mutant. It was not a problem for him. All the plants here cannot compare to his strength. For the guy, it was like a walk in the park. Finally, the plant appeared before him in its true form. Ray was just waiting for the king of this place to appear. Killing him will be fun because of all the possible treasures in him. It's strange, but Sarah asks to stop this massacre. The girl has a talent for talking to plants. She simply asked him for help, and the tree made concessions. As a result, a new creature appeared before them. Sarah is grateful to the tree and will fulfill its request not to touch anything. Kayla herself asked people to destroy one creature. Ray understands everything and promises to do it. He wants to be prepared for all surprises, and for this he needs materials. Thanks to the experience of past lives, it is clear that the level of strength is much more important. No one has ever been to this park, which is why he finds so many materials. Kayla wants to talk about something important. Ray manipulates these mutants easily. He was waiting for this conversation. Kayla will give a special gift for destroying the devouring monster. She offered her core of wisdom as a reward. With his skill, this core will definitely not hurt the guy. Sarah only thinks about studying this core. She has lived so long that she will definitely be able to give an important part of herself. The guy has conditions without which he will not start work. They will do everything for him. But Ray can't help but think about the possible options. Kayla will never leave this place. If she fails, she will be swallowed up. With the help of this core, the guy will be able to increase his intelligence. A girl should look in all directions so as not to miss anything. They were struck by a black hole in the middle of an ordinary lake. Kayla asks everyone to kill the monster with one hit. They won't have another chance. Before descending into the hole itself, the guy called his friend. The horse immediately clung to the girl. They liked each other. Ray leaves Sarah on the horse so she can escape. During the jump, Kayla explained all the difficulties of this task. It was a wonderful feeling for the guy to be in the water. He is really interested in what this monster looks like. What I saw before my eyes was shocking. I had to be extremely careful. It will be difficult to win against such a crab. Kayla spoke about her unsuccessful battle in which she almost died. Today, Ray has the perfect chance to destroy this monster. It's time for them to join the battle together. Unfortunately, he will have to fight an active crab. They do their best, but it is not enough. Sarah feels awkward just standing there and waiting while the battle plays out. It turned out that the guy's strength was not at all sufficient for this battle. The crab is aiming at the guy, but he is not going to run. The monster defends itself against any attack. Ray was trapped with only one way out. A second of hesitation, and the guy himself could become crab food. The tree doesn't understand anything, but the man in front of it has disappeared. It knows that whatever gets into the crab's stomach stays there. It looks like his death is near too. But then the crab was unexpectedly injured. The boy was safe and sound, despite the crab's desperate attempts. The guy was incomparable in his abilities. He can easily deceive the enemy with his clone. The crab is not going to give up despite such a blunder. Ray is excited about the potential prey from this mutant. His strength should be enough to finally finish off the monster. Now Tree can't look at the guy with the usual eyes. On the shore, Sarah had difficulty restraining the horse, which so wanted to help its owner. The huge crab scared her, but she was ready to attack. Luckily for her, the whole crab thing was done. Her friend got away with only wet clothes after such a fight. The girl is even ready to give him her dress so that he feels warm. Ray hasn't sunk so low yet that he wears women's clothing. After everything that happened, Kayla will fulfill her promise. Battle trophies await the small team. The guy wants to see that very core of wisdom in his hands. If there was an opportunity, Sarah would conduct so many experiments with this tree. Ray was not deceived and received the core. Sarah can learn a lot, but this core is definitely not on that list. It turns out that Sky has something similar. The guy asks everyone not to show off the importance of this thing. The disregard for the core struck both the tree and Kayla to the core. In fact, Ray protects him with all his heart. His people's empty talk is already irritating him. Before leaving, they decided to offer him something valuable. Ray couldn't even imagine that he would get this value so easily. The tree needs protection from the future king of these places. The guy has no reason to refuse such a lucrative offer. They appreciated Ray's strength and couldn't lose him so easily. Only Sarah doubts the advisability of using the new reagent. The guy is lucky that he knows all the side effects. Tree lets Kayla go with her boyfriend so that they can always stay in touch. Everyone understands perfectly well that this will be a regular surveillance of the guy. The couple was happy with their catch, but the scream ruined everything. He was informed of a new, more serious attack on the base. All he could do was listen to the desperate cries of his people. The screams were the last thing he heard. Ray regretted letting those bandits go unharmed. Sarah can't imagine how they can help their friends. It was a necessary measure, and the guy had to use all his resources. He is ready to feel every bone break, just to become stronger. The pain was unbearable. At this moment, he doesn't need help. It's like he's being torn apart from the inside. There were people who could endure this, and it brought them power. At one point, even Sarah almost got hurt. Looking at the guy, she missed how all the zombies in the area came running to the noise. She'll have to sweat. Kayla will only help Ray. Sarah didn't have time to fight off all the zombies. Finally, a guy entered this battle. He wasn't at all scared by these enhanced monsters. He won't let fear get the better of him. Ray scattered all the zombies like fluff. In just a couple of minutes, he dealt with the entire crowd. After everything she saw, Sarah believed in victory over all enemies. Meanwhile, the situation at the base was dire. Halsey no longer had the strength to treat everyone. Henry fought as best he could, but it did not help him save his people. Aiton has become much stronger, so now no one can scare him. He wasted no time after his defeat. The man could do nothing to resist him. Now for Aiton, all the people at the base are just bugs. He is waiting for Ray to appear so that he can show him his new powers. Maggie will never help him, no matter what it takes. Isaac would have loved to spend this time in a soft bed. Nowadays, it is difficult for these bandits to find equal strength. Troy decided to take advantage of the moment while no one could defeat him. Aiton enjoys looking down on everyone. He can tear apart all enemies with his bare hands. Troy doesn't want to waste precious time talking. April wants to kill anyone who dared to touch them. Halsey can only pray for Ray to show up. Suddenly, Troy was attacked with a force for which he was not prepared. The guy appeared at the right moment. Ethan so wants to hear himself begged for mercy. Sam began to have hope that they would all be saved. Despite all the beatings, he got a second win for the battle. Ray asks the healthy to take care of the wounded, while he kills everyone in his path. Kayla will help just once, but not for free. The guy was 100% ready for this confrontation. Isaac is amused by the boy's blind faith in victory, but he likes this courage, so he won't mind fighting. Michael didn't miss the opportunity to show off his toys. The man wants to avenge the shame of a past battle. He just wants to cut the guy open. April wants to somehow warn him about the danger. Michael was confident until Ray spoke. The guy brushes him off easily like a fly. The bandit's speed is again inferior to the guy's. He was so confident in his abilities, but he fails. However, Michael figured out the guy's plan and won't fall for it again. Ray, like a good teacher, decided to point out all the mistakes. Michael was too slow. In a matter of seconds, he was hit with an incredible number of blows. The team was shocked by their boss's new power. Michael wanted to win, but lost again. Only Sarah knows that they haven't seen all of the boy's abilities yet. Ray has just gotten going. He's already ready to move on to the next kill. Isaac wanted to fight him, but quickly changed his mind. He wanted to save face, but Ethan decided everything for him. The guy understands that he will definitely not emerge from this battle alive. Aiton won't let him take a single step back. What scared Isaac most was the curse that would haunt him if he escaped. Once again, a man is sent to Ray to certain death. Aiton wants to see skill from his man. Isaac tried his luck to attack first with his superpower. Even after such a blow, there wasn't even a scratch on the guy. For the first time, his super attack didn't kill his enemy. Ray has fought such monsters that these humans are no match for them. He can't win the honest way, so he'll have to resort to trickery. Isaac took poor Peter hostage. The guy just finds this idea funny. Only Henry is genuinely concerned about his friend. A second later, ice needles pierced Isaac's body. Henry himself felt bad, but he couldn't leave his friend alone. Aiton was impressed by the growth of enemy forces. Ray still has plans for the evening, so it's time to put all conversations aside. Ethan will have to use a potion to increase his chances of winning. All these senseless attempts to delay inevitable death. At the moment, no one can reach the guy's level. The drug awakened a demonic force in Aiton. Ray would like to take away a couple of his enemy's abilities. He remembered his battle with the crab and his crystal. It seems that with its help you can absorb everything around you. The guy didn't think long before taking it for himself. And then came the moment when Aiton attacked with all his strength. Imagine Ethan's surprise when his punch didn't work. The main thing here is that all of his abilities will be transferred to the new owner. This was an important moment in the battle. With the help of the crystal, Ray is capable of incredible things. Aiton lost his main advantage. Now everything that belonged to Ethan is in Ray's hands. This loss broke him more than the loss in the previous battle. Ray was simply returning the favor from his past life. This was the end of Ethan's life. A couple of days later, Halsey continued to treat people. The line near the girl doesn't seem to be getting any smaller. Everyone must make a full recovery, and that is not up for discussion. Ray decided to burst in on the guys during their discussions. Thanks to the guy, everyone will have a luxurious dinner today in times of disaster. Everyone was incredibly happy. After the end of the world, crab was the best thing that entered their stomachs. They hadn't seen their friends so happy for a long time. It was a nice break, but a difficult future awaits Ray. They now have time when they don't have to think about the future. Now they can just drink to success. After dinner, everyone received a drug to boost their levels. Thanks to the campaign, the team will become even stronger. Sarah created all these mixtures herself. She's just not sure they're safe to use. For everything people have been through, Christy just has to drink it. Ray doesn't force you to do this. Everyone makes their own decision. Some decided to give it up for their own reasons. Peter, for example, is simply confident in the power of his boss, and he doesn't need it. The guy frees everyone who won't do it. April was disappointed with everyone who gave up their power so easily. Ray doesn't need people to force him to do anything. The rest, without worrying about the consequences, drank the drug to the bottom. The guys were sad to leave, but they made this decision themselves. They feel ashamed in front of the girls who showed themselves to be more courageous than them. The guys just didn't want to risk their only life. Suddenly, an unknown person came to the base. The guards immediately opened fire on him. It was all pointless. The enemy was too tough for them. Those who guard this place today are unlucky. The man came here to see only one person. It was as if the entire base was shaken. With heightened intuition, the guy knows that they have guests again. At the end of the evening, everyone received a luxurious spatial chain. Howard wants to see who unceremoniously killed his nephew. He will turn the base upside down to take revenge. Ray wasn't at all afraid to go out to him. The man is not going to hide the reason for his arrival. It turned out that the guy was invited to a meeting with the enemy boss. Howard wants to kill him, but he can't do it yet. Ray doesn't need any protection card. He protects himself quite well. The man did him a favor, but refusal is also accepted. The force of the recoil simply amazed him. The guy will come to the meeting, no matter how dangerous it may be. This time, things are going differently, and Ray doesn't have to worry about failure. He had to order that no one be released. Ray must stick to the plan strictly. He faces a difficult process that could break him mentally. From his past life, he remembers 5 truly strong people. There is a high chance that his team will be able to resist them. Ray wants to confront Evan personally. It's time for him to begin his own preparations for the coming battle. He needs to move on to a rather risky activity with excellent results. He may be the first in the world to combine the 2 abilities. A guy can't make a mistake before a battle with the strongest. Unfortunately, the first attempt was a failure, but the energy of 2 abilities still invaded his mind. A whole battle between skills began inside his body. Kayla came to the rescue. She understands this much better. She quickly realized the reason for the chaos in the guy's body. Ray needs to get rid of the ability to save his life. If you want to live, you'll have to trust Kayla. Ray was so pleased to receive the ability that almost killed him in the end. Kayla was surprised by the lack of screaming during the extraction. In fact, the guy immediately felt better. But Ray doesn't plan to stop there. Kayla will have to help him again, as it is beneficial to her. Ray has one more try left, and it must not end in failure. Kayla was surrounded by a light that reminded her of her first mutation. It's hard to tell from the guy's face whether he managed to do it. In fact, everything was great. In all her existence, Kayla had never seen such power. Ray was the discoverer of the ability. Sam, at the cost of his life, led a whole crowd of zombies to the boss's base. The security guards even envied his talents. They shouldn't underestimate Sam. He did everything that was asked of him, but it looks like he will die because of it. At the very height of it all, the magnificent Henry appeared. Not only people, but also machines came to the rescue. April wants to believe that men can accomplish all the tasks. They feel awkward because of the lamentations of such a strong girl. Everything was fine until Sam started to panic because of the noise. It was all Sky's fault. He went a bit overboard. We need to figure out who the real boss is here. Kate was tired of listening to jokes when an important task fell on their shoulders. Sometime later, at a meeting, Ray decided to open up to the team. Sarah is a good brain woman, but right now she's having a hard time understanding the guy's full motive. The guy deliberately divides people to save more lives. April had been in sports arenas many times and had never seen them as dangerous from the people themselves. Ray realizes the seriousness of the situation, which needs to be conveyed to everyone. Maggie really doesn't want to leave her brother alone. She is already an adult and does not need protection. The guy specially prepared a task for her that she would definitely like, but the girl is confident that all this can be done without her. It turned out that he wanted to take his parents to the new base. Everyone can bring their relatives there. He came up with a poetic name for the base, with a deep meaning. Many were amazed by the commander's desire to create a new world. This gave them hope for a bright future. From now on, Kate and Sarah will be responsible for establishing the new base. Kate would like to channel her energies in a different direction. In some ways, Sarah was upset that she wouldn't be able to fight everyone. Ray chose the most reliable ones who could take responsibility. In fact, no one but them can handle the new base. After all the nice words, they simply couldn't refuse such a task. Ray and the Chosen Four will head to the battlefield, and so the small team began searching for a place for a new home. The guy followed their progress until the very end. Thanks to his past life experience, Ray plotted his route for several years ahead. It's time for him to start preparing for the battle in the arena. Everyone has something to show their opponents. First, Ray demonstrated his unique ability. Shadows surrounded everyone. With the help of shadows, the guy prepared everyone for battle. Christy was terrified by the thought of losing her life in the battle arena. Ray warned everyone that they could be pitted against each other in this arena. Therefore, he asks everyone to hold off their opponents as long as possible. The shadows are identical to the guy, which will prevent the friends from fighting among themselves. Ray has high hopes for this tactic, otherwise it will be time for improvisation. Henry felt the urge to hide this inept fighter. April wanted a shield like her shadows. Christy can't stop worrying even with extra help. The guy was overprepared for the test. He knows exactly who to always be wary of in the arena. Ray simply has to make it to the end. And so the team came to the arena of the final battle. The guy really wants to show everyone all his progress. Henry never saw anyone here except his own. But suddenly gravity decided to act on them. Ray is the only one who stood up to such an attack from the enemies. At last, influential people from the Heavenly Wheel appeared. Evan asks not to mock the first arrivals. In the end, Selena took pity on them. From the very beginning, Ray's team was not treated as equals. Evan enjoys communicating with his opponents. He wants to unite with the survivors for the sake of preserving life in principle. Howard finds it hard to contain his anger when he sees Ray. The team is not going to make a scene here to determine the strongest. Ray, like everyone else, wants to have a great time. Evan can't help but like this opening. The competition is beginning. May luck smile on everyone. At this time, the creature was asking questions about its universe. He is desperately trying to figure out if he is human. A portal appeared in this world that the animals simply could not ignore. It seems that this unknown will allow him to become human. The third gate opened and they had new food. The energy of the arena frightened the guy, and probably not only him. Despite all the danger of losing, the guy accepted all the conditions. His first location opened up before him. Unfortunately, Howard showed up here too. Ray would gladly kill him himself, but now his hands are tied. Now is not the time for them to think about their grievances. He's more interested in the monster that's waiting for everyone. Ray, like everyone else, has read about the reward for winning, but he knows much more. The mere sight of the monsters was frightening. Many people appeared on the field, but not everyone is capable of fighting at all. The guy would like to study the system of these tests better. The battle has begun, and everyone must survive and defeat the monster. It seems like they all need to unite to win. Howard took on the role of commander-in-chief. The girls are hoping for someone's help. They definitely can't cope on their own. They were idle for too long. The monster managed to catch up with them. Olivia promises to do anything to get her brother to save her. On the brink of death, she continued to pray for help. But it was all in vain. The snake got a tasty snack, but he wants more. And just in a couple of seconds, the group became smaller by one person. Phoebe takes the chance to take a break when one of them gets eaten. Here, Ryan can only count on himself. Unfortunately, the girls face certain death. Ray hasn't done anything yet, but he's already received points for his work. This system of earning money is a bit of a headache for the guy. For the death of a person, everyone received points. The guy thinks about the lives of his friends all the time. Everyone understood the meaning of human life in this dimension. While studying the rules, everyone forgot about the existence of monsters. Emma is the only one who tries to help others. Phoebe barely escapes the new monster. This snake was different. It enjoys the fear in the eyes of its victim. In the end, everyone ran further than they could see. Howard showed nobility and helped the desperate lady. Such a powerful attack was carried out before the people's eyes that it was hard to believe. He was a monster in his past life too. So everything is constant here. Howard was a gentleman to Phoebe. The girl immediately fell in love with her savior. Phoebe used her charms. Maybe she could get a living shield. Howard saved her for one purpose only. It's disgusting when glasses are much more important than people's lives. He is ready to kill everyone to become the leader. The man quickly became a real monster himself. Now everyone knows the benefits of killing a person, not a monster. This means that the guy's assumptions may be correct. People run not from mutants, but from their own kind. They also avoid Ray, fearing his plans. This point-scoring tactic makes the guy laugh. Emma would like to stand up to Howard, but she is no match for him. She was ready to accept her death here and now. Luck was on her side, and the man himself fell into the trap. It only took him a couple of minutes to deal with the unnecessary monster. Ray needs to get rid of Howard as the main obstacle. Everyone runs in panic, hoping to escape the clutches of the monster. Meanwhile, the guy destroyed all the zombies in his path. He collected all the crystals he could. After everything he saw, the unknown person wanted to invite the guy to his community. Marvin is ready to provide him with everything he needs to survive. Ray would never join such a rotten organization. The man simply lives in a world where everything is going down the drain anyway. He proposes to create a world without rules and principles. This brainwashing isn't working on the guy. This refusal hurt Marvin. All these words do not stop him from becoming a suicide bomber and taking everyone with him. Ray was disappointed that there was no pretty girl standing in front of him. Who would have thought that such a plan would fall apart because of one guy? He still retained his humanity even in these difficult times. This meeting added another piece to Ray's revenge list. The rating showed the guy who successfully kills absolutely everyone in his path. Howard didn't forget to leave bait for the main target. Poor Emma suffered profusely at the hands of a true monster. The snake didn't need bait. The target was this couple. Howard put himself in harm's way by his actions. Ray is not so easy to outwit. The man allegedly wanted to help such a good person. Now the guy will have to deal with the enraged monster. Howard likes the idea of working in pairs. Then he will do the most important thing in his life: kill Ray. Emma said goodbye to life, but she did not stop struggling. At some point, the two even came to a common plan. A second, and the end came for the girl. It was the perfect moment for Ray to attack. Howard wasn't aiming at the monster, but at the guy. Even powerful masters die with the help of his technique. But the guy was ready for anything, and the shadow saved him. Ray didn't have to get his hands dirty with Howard. Admittedly, he liked this picture. He always knows when they want to kill him and is ready for it. Howard was a great actor, but everything has its flaws. The guy was at such a level that he could see the hidden desires of those around him. Who would have thought that the aura of murder would reveal Howard? However, the desire to kill the guy against the boss's will interests him. Howard had a nephew in the past. At the family circle, no one missed the opportunity to put him down. The family members ridiculed him as much as they could. Only his nephew was sincerely glad to see him on such a day. He even had a gift for his uncle. Howard is happy with such attention from his closest person. He can't forgive the guy for killing his practically son. He was severely punished for his attempted attack. Before his end, he finally met his nephew. All this made Ray respect him a little. There's only him and the boss of this desert left. It's time to end this mess. As a result, the guy was the best in this test. The guy will have to test this boss's strength himself. But the snake is not so easy to defeat. He was unlucky enough to encounter a fast and furious beast. The guy is ready for any twists of fate. It seems that the snake is trying to use him for his own purposes. But the guy is not so simple either. Ray could still have been beaten a week ago, but now he is completely different. He just needs to test the monster's weak spot. The guy's scheme worked perfectly. At the same levels, killing the monster will not be difficult. Ray, as a human, has intelligence, unlike a lower being. There's no point in hiding the fact that the guy likes this kind of power imbalance. He quickly deprived the monster of what was most important. A couple more minutes and victory will be on Ray's side. But the boss wasn't going to give up without a fight. The guy's brilliant reaction saved his life. His preparation was incomplete for such a battle. I had to call the shadows for help. It will definitely be difficult for a snake to cope with such a set. Somehow, Ray scared the monster away. The guy's entire team, and he himself, found themselves in the most intense quicksand. All his shadows were gathered back. The snake was pleased with his work. Looks like death has come for the guy. He needed to stay away from all this for the sake of his own life. At that moment, a disgusting moment from the past appeared before my eyes. Ray was among those who allowed themselves to mock the weak. He himself was not against taking what belonged to others. The poor boy was worried about his toy. Because of the toy, new bullying began to fly towards the poor guy. The hooligan is not going to let him go without some profit. Ray didn't mind taking this toy for money. He even thought about giving this bear to his sister. Then a little girl came to the rescue. Sean couldn't let his sister see all this bullying going on around him. Layla is not blind and she sees how bad her brother is. Harvey, on the other hand, enjoyed this game of being the good guy. Layla was too clumsy to help. After some time, she was the one who needed help. Of the company, only Ray quickly realized what they had done. He is not allowed to help. The guy couldn't leave without doing something. Sean doesn't have time to call anyone for help. His sister's life depends only on him. Together they can get out of this mess. The brother was managing to save himself until marine life appeared on his path. Ray can't risk her life because of her sister. He could only watch as the kids drowned, essentially because of him. In fact, the guy was simply afraid for his life. Now many more people depend on it. Ray can't die and leave his people in trouble. Apart from him, no one can make a revolution to save the world. He had to rise up and gather all his strength against the serpent. He managed to make this stupid monster. The guy just couldn't afford to lose. Ray, as the only survivor, completed the ordeal. All rewards will now be given to the guy. Having taken first place, everything went to him. Now he has to return to the starting point. It's time to connect with the rest of the team. Everyone answered him except Henry. The guy tried to contact him for a long time, but nothing worked. Somehow, Ray found the right words to calm the entire team. It's time for them all to move on to their next tests. With a heavy heart, April accepted the new challenge. Christy stopped everyone for one question. Only girls were on the line, so the conversation ended up being almost secret. Christy asks her to always help Ray. The girl was going to do it anyway to save her mother. She had to open her eyes to the impossibility of treating someone so close. April knew in her mind that Ray had lied to her for a reason, but her heart found it hard to accept. She can't afford to disappoint people. Many agreed to go to the second test with the guy. The strongest ones appeared on the field and immediately began to divide the guy. Rhea is touched by this attitude towards her person. These guys in robes are serious about having some fun with the guy. He sees this as a good opportunity to accumulate points. His shadows will quickly cut everyone into pieces. As it turns out, killing here won't do the guy any good. New people appeared on the field. Ray felt extremely awkward at the sight of these ladies. Others appeared who were interested in the fight. The creature wanted to become human. Finally, everyone received information about the nature of the test. Despite his wishes, the guy will have to work in a team. He will have to choose who can be left alive. His gaze fell only on two beauties. Fred is surprised by the confidence some people have in their 100% survival. The girls agreed on their actions in advance. Their future is clear. They never changed their principles. Ray doesn't want to work with any of them. Fred chose the best solution for himself to satisfy the master. He would have said a lot, but the hybrid prevented him. The hybrid must kill in order to transform. The girls had to replay the situation and settle on Ray. Fred can't just die like that. In response, all the hybrid's weaknesses were studied in literally a second. The creature enjoyed this impromptu fight. Fred must be careful around such a powerful enemy. For his own benefit, he even offered Ray cooperation. He is confident that only the two of them can cope with such an enemy. Once this hybrid kills someone, it will definitely evolve. It seemed that the girls were mentally prepared for the mission better than anyone else. The hybrid shows no signs of stopping. To attract attention, Fred even revealed his main secret. He quickly finds the weak spots of his enemies. Ray had to agree to a temporary collaboration. Then he will figure out what to do himself. The guy is absolutely confident of victory with his own strength. The hybrid had to bow before such a man. He looks forward to meeting death. During the disaster, people were constantly piling up new bodies. Who would have thought that new life would appear in a pile of corpses? After the first breath, the baby was immediately attacked for food. But he himself was not against tasting the organs. After that, he was obsessed with the desire to become human. The hybrid killed many animals to survive. Now it was the people's turn to suffer. He needs to eat the strongest to become human. He didn't see the point, but he wanted to become one so much. Perhaps in his new guise he will be able to find his mother. Fred's heart is no longer his own. The creature will do anything to become human. For now, they shouldn't interfere with what's happening. Murphy will be waiting for all the hard work to be done for him. Selena felt awkward about what was happening. For the first time, the hybrid came so close to his goal, to become human. This rapid evolution interested the guy. His shadows will protect him from the creature's sharp teeth. He will have to save everyone so that the situation does not get worse. Due to the increased attention, the girls decided in favor of Ray. At this time, the gears were turning in the guy's head, searching for a plan for murder. The hybrid didn't care about all the attacks from people. The guy's fancy sword couldn't withstand the pressure and broke. He has a chance to become human by eating Ray's brains. No one can interfere with the creature. The guy's shadows were faster than all of them combined. This moment allowed him to move away to a safe distance. This way, its boulders can cause at least some damage to the enemy. But you can't scare a hybrid with this technique anymore. If the situation were not critical, the girls would bet on the winners. In this world, they could not be frightened as long as they were close to each other. Ray needs to take this matter more seriously. Even a more improved attack did not bring any good. This was all just a simple trick from Ray. He had to blow up both the hybrid and everything nearby. The killing of the hybrid was a necessary measure to prevent the birth of a real monster. Unlike his past life, this time Ray managed alone. After some seclusion and showdown, Murphy may appear on the battlefield. But the fight was not over. Ray will have to use his wits to survive. The hybrid expected a tough fight, not to be sucked into who knows where. Using this thing takes a serious toll on Ray's health. But he finally won definitively. Everything didn't go according to plan. Even with protection, the girls were dead. They left a suicide note in the hope that the boy would forgive them. This situation made the guy feel extremely strange. Murphy praised the commander of the new base. Ray remembers this man well as one of the strongest. They are all somehow connected and aimed at the guy. Everyone was afraid of Murphy, except his mistress. Because of the guy's victory, Murphy was willing to look at him as an equal. Their collaboration was profitable, so Ray did not dare refuse. Starting the conversation with praise was the guy's perfect strategy. He needs to change the subject of the conversation to maintain neutrality. Murphy, like everyone here, wants to increase his chances of winning. Ray can't help but agree with his logic. Thanks to this short conversation, the man wanted to win the guy over to his side. The test will begin if everyone agrees to work. 3 participants officially advanced to the next stage. Something appeared in the sky that signified the last day of life. There's something in the sky waiting for the god of war to appear. After these words, all who died here appeared again. They were collected piece by piece for the final battle. Something was enjoying the beginning of the fateful day. Selena is doing her best to contain these living corpses. But it's difficult. Murphy did everything to ensure that the girl had the best ability. Ray is very aware that they are pulling the wool over his eyes to get his attention. The man took advantage of the boy's lack of knowledge. It always amazed me how people developed so quickly after the disaster began. The guy attributed everything to his innate talent. but the presence of the ring on him proved that this was not the case. As if to his fellow man, Murphy is ready to reveal the secret of the ring. Ray was not prepared for this information. At the beginning of the disaster, when there was no hope left, a ring with incredible power was found. Looks like the guy's ring has a counterpart. Murphy quickly confirmed the presence of several such rings. In the cities, everyone heard a voice with instructions for survival, but not everyone could cope with it. All this leads the guy to the idea of a special preparation for the apocalypse. It turned out that everyone heard a strange laugh, but no one attached any importance to it. Only after this conversation did they begin to think about its origin. Ray must determine the purpose of everything that happens in the world. Their fascinating conversation was interrupted by an attack of corpses. Even after death, they retained within themselves the remnants of their former strength. The guy didn't have time to communicate with them during his lifetime, but he got a chance to fight with each of them. They took him by surprise. It's time for Murphy to get his hands a little dirty. His amazing strength had its drawbacks, which could make death near. All this time, Ray watched as everyone fought for him. He did not immediately enter the fight. The case quickly ended with the repeated murder of one of the girls. The second of them, despite her condition, did not hold back her emotions. As it turned out, the repeat murder led to nothing. He had to run away from the one whom he had already cut several times. It looks like they want to exhaust him before he dies. He had encountered similar abilities before, but it had never come to blows. He still knows how two organisms work, so death can be avoided. He needs to hit the girls together. You just need to cut off their heads, but it's difficult to do this with a rational being. Ray was not at all prepared for the girls to protect each other even after death. The guy has to twist and turn to get each one. With his abilities, it's not really that hard to get rid of corpses. A couple of minutes later, each one got hit on the head. Ray didn't want to part with their powers, so he decided to steal them. He immediately transferred these powers to the soldiers, so victory was on his side. His whole plan failed. Even the shadows could not withstand these forces. In fact, the souls of these girls merged, which led to the creation of powerful shadows. Now the guy has new slaves. He learned not only to take away powers, but also to change his own shadows. Meanwhile, Murphy and Selena continued to fight. Ray can only be congratulated on his improved strength. Something cut short the joy of the end of the battle. Nothing is over yet. It was bad, but Ray's shadows will definitely cope with all the monsters. Next, they were introduced to the strongest of his kind. The only thing that came to the guy's mind was a snake, but it definitely wasn't him. It seemed that nothing had happened yet, but the opponents became gloomier than a thundercloud. Murphy's secret may be revealed ahead of time. Suddenly, the first Lord of the Sand World appeared on the field. It didn't end there, and another monster came. Everyone will face the one they seem to have defeated on their own field. And the last one to appear was Henry. Murphy will wait until the last minute to say nothing. Ray isn't afraid of death at the hands of man. He just wants to hear the truth. The man eventually confessed to killing Henry out of necessity. The guy's reaction was too calm. Even the couple was surprised by this. He will have to fight with his friend, but it will be difficult to defeat the entire Thunder God. The best possible scenario unfolds before Murphy. The remaining enemies fell on the shoulders of the couple. They will have to work together until they can kill Ray themselves. Selena will wait until they have an advantage over the guy. His mistake led to the death of his friend and father. Henry no longer heard his apologies. He was only in the mood for murder. During the attack, he encountered a portal. Ray can only keep him alive in another form. It was hard, but it had to be done. The desperate battle between people and monsters continued. Murphy fought tirelessly. The battle ended with their success, although it came at a considerable cost in terms of health. In fact, the guy had no trouble dealing with Henry. Somehow, Murphy will have to kill this strong guy. They were informed about the successful passage of the fateful day. The gates were open, but everyone noticed something strange here. Each person now has a field with an individual task that no one else should know about. Their ordeal is not over yet. Selena has to choose who will die because of her, but it's quite difficult. With the help of this ability, it was clear who was plotting murder here. The guy just needs to survive. Murphy is a cunning man. He offered to work together again. Ray isn't going to do anything until Murphy tells him everything. The man doesn't like this arrangement. The guy does all this on purpose to get down to business quickly. Selena quickly rushed at the guy as soon as she heard the order. The gravity around him instantly changed. Murphy had to use this moment to get rid of a future problem. A new shadow immediately came to his defense. Ray needs to move to avoid being affected. The shadow will do all the dirty work for him. They want to tear the guy into small pieces. There's no point in catching a guy when he's already learned the enemy's abilities. A new, stronger shadow came to the rescue. At some point, Murphy became helpless in the face of danger. It was a quick victory for the guy. It's too early to rejoice. Selena will always come to the aid of her man. Murphy won't let anyone do it. The girl has it tough enough. but she can't let her master down. Ray always makes you doubt your victory. His knife is definitely sharpened for cutting limbs. This is offensive to the girl. Even with one arm, she's not going to give up. Speed failed her, and death approached her. Because of all this, Murphy himself found himself on the brink of death. But it should not be underestimated. Only now did he get really angry. All this will definitely end with the death of one of them. Something in the sky is waiting for everyone here to kill each other. He will kill everyone himself if the participants do not anticipate the actions of the enemies. They need to guess each person's assignment. Ray faces a difficult task. It seems Murphy has figured out the guy's goal. The assumption turned out to be wrong, but the guy liked this guess. He is sure that Ray needs to kill him. All of Ray's actions and Selena's still living nature only lead to such thoughts. His guess was wrong, and because of this, their death is approaching. At the same time, Ray's thoughts about the options for victory were just right. He decided to talk everything out, but Murphy wouldn't let him do it. Ray needs to buy time to finish speaking. The guy's ice almost always finds its target. This gave him the opportunity to talk about his necessary murder. The shadows prevented Murphy from approaching the guy. Now he has definitely won. But this also turned out to be wrong. Ray is truly scared. He definitely won't be able to stand up to this creature. They had only 5 minutes left before their shared death. All that's left is for Murphy to kill the guy himself. There is not the slightest chance to resist the man's attack. It was a battle of the strongest. The man knew that everyone here would go to the end. Ray was prepared to suffer and protected his body. But even this did not save him from paralysis. It turned out that someone was still able to overcome him. The guy doesn't waste a moment to attack the man again. In this state, Murphy simply won't be able to withstand another blow. Suddenly, Selena spoke up. She doesn't want to see her loved one die. A man needs to kill two to win. The girl is ready to do anything for a man. Murphy will never lose. Selena would easily say goodbye to her life if it would help a man. This loyalty cannot fail to amaze. She was ready to die as a sign of gratitude for the gift of life. She had a disgusting past that you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. Selena wanted to end all her suffering. Somehow, the driver was able to prevent a disaster. Unfortunately for the girl, she was unharmed. At the end of her life, a man appeared as a ray of hope. He didn't leave Selena's side in the hospital. It was the first time anyone had genuinely cared about her. Murphy has done a lot to make her life much better now. He just wanted to help the unfortunate woman. Selena couldn't hold back her tears. After what happened, Selena saw the whole world. A strong bond developed between them. The girl was ready to give herself entirely to her king. There's only 1 minute left before absolutely everyone is killed. Selena would be only too happy to die at the hands of her loved one. It turned out that the man always lied to her. Recognition flows from him only because of unconditional devotion. Murphy took on the girl's support for the sake of his reputation. He pretended to be a benefactor, when in fact he forced the father to give up his daughter. Dirty thoughts constantly crept into his head. Selena refuses to believe that her whole life has been a lie. Today, his conscience did not allow him to remain silent. He always used people, and Selena was no exception. It's time to finish the task. Even Ray is surprised by the desire to kill her own friend. The guy saw this as the key to victory. It was too late to say anything. At some point, something completed the task. A visible connection has emerged between Murphy and Selena. What was happening was like a dream. Selena is not bothered by the lies of the past, and her faith in the future does not leave her. The truth is that she loves a man. In the end, Ray turned out to be the winner. The catch is that he has to leave with serious injuries. It was difficult for him to move, but he couldn't stop. He can't use his powers, but for some reason the shadow appeared. Ray came to his own aid. This is how he managed to reach the long-awaited exit. He successfully completed the second test. For such a test, the guy should get something worthwhile. The rewards were good, but the truth of the world concerned him most of all. Finally, Ray appeared among people. His body was badly damaged and needed urgent recovery. The time has come for the whole team to come together as one. They trained a lot to be able to easily complete the assigned tasks. Ray had time to examine everyone who had passed the test. Among the crowd, April never saw the person closest to her. Only the boy knew about her father's fate. The girl intends to find this joker. Ray was forced to take the hit and accept Henry's death. April refuses to believe it because she didn't see anything herself. Unfortunately, the guy personally knows those who are responsible for his father's death. This whole thing is a disgusting joke for a girl. But Ray speaks to her with utmost honesty. For the first time, April was ready to do something terrible. They are trying with all their might to stop her. This picture impressed those present. Ray understands the girl's feelings perfectly, so he is ready to let her go. April lost her last loved one. She was left completely alone. At that moment, the girl did not pay attention to her new family. She needed a strong man's back for support. Some people don't understand how such a weakling even got to this stage. Many people here have lost loved ones, but they are not going to whine. Others decided to remain silent. Some people were truly touched by these tears. Someone saw ideal victims here for themselves. Finally, all the lucky ones were congratulated on reaching the final level. Everyone has seen this guide in their trials. Ray sees pleasure in the eyes of this ball. Evan can't wait for the next challenge. The guide never misses a chance to mock mortals. The test was about to begin, and it was hard for anyone to resist. Evan expects a desperate fight between people. They will have to prepare for something scary during the mission. Something in the sky wants to see the chosen son of God. A new set of rules appeared before everyone. So the thought of a whole group behind all this crept into Ray's head. They understand that they have little chance of surviving as a team. April can't help but agree with them, but she doesn't lose faith in victory. Only Ray sees the benefits here. He had to explain the rules in a little more detail, pointing out their peculiarities. He can't afford to lose his partners. It's time for the guide to begin the test. Soon, everyone will be transported to a new battlefield. The guide expects a bloodbath. Ray will have to fight desperately against who knows who. He wants to see who is responsible for such suffering of all people. Who would have thought that the first battle would be with a child? The guy is greatly underestimated. Greg didn't wait long and used a diversionary tactic. His photographs are explosive. His plan to kill failed the first time, but that can be fixed. Ray simply has to prevent a second attack. But it was quite difficult for him to get this child. A stone in the sky knocked him off course. To win, Greg must be a little more careful because of the cunning guy. Greg's calculations are useless now, but a call might fix the situation. Ray is not so easy to kill. Greg voluntarily told about the miracle in his hands. He knows how adults, unlike children, deny various miracles. In fact, adults are unworthy of believing in this because of the corruption of their souls. Greg hoped to kill his enemy quickly, but his plan was not destined to come true. The shadows before him prevented him from committing murder. Ray will have to open the child's eyes to this cruel world of adults. Greg's main weapon was taken, but that doesn't mean anything. He is too strong for his treasure to be taken easily. They don't give him even a minute to relax. This behavior with the treasure breaks his heart. It was the guy's turn to take explosive photos. Greg is a little offended that a grown man would act so meanly. It's time for Ray to take a great photo. But nothing works in the guy's hands. It was a big mistake to think that all the power was in the phone. Ray still has a small but still a chance of survival. Greg, as a standalone miracle, will kill his opponent. This whole deceptive maneuver was only to lull the guy's vigilance. Greg's miracles make the impossible possible. This chatter from the child got on the boy's nerves. It's unbelievable that he could lose in the first round. But Ray forgot about his faithful assistants. To win, the guy himself needs some kind of miracle. Suddenly the shadows captured his hands. Greg was too well developed compared to Ray. All his blows will easily penetrate any guy's defense. He was preparing to attack until he himself took damage. In fact, Ray had lost hope of winning, but everything can always be changed. It turns out that miracles were only supposed to work for Greg, but that wasn't the case. Now he too will have to endure the most powerful attacks. It was hard to lose when victory was already in your hands. Everyone, regardless of age, is capable of creating a real miracle. Life is hard for adults, but they don't lose their optimism. Everyone faces difficulties along the way. Their heads are filled with thoughts of the long-awaited salary from a hated job. Someone can almost be killed for failing to fulfill an order. After talking about adult life, Ray became the winner of this round. It was in vain that Ray dumped all this on the child's head when their current realities are very different from the usual ones. He has very little time to rest before the next battle. It was necessary to let go of the shadows too. He had many questions about the ring's power, but the shadows attracted his attention more. They began to argue among themselves as if they were alive. The presence of intelligence in the dead frightened him a little. The girl spoke about a voice asking her to help her owner. In between answers, they continued to argue about their beauty. Ray seized on the words about the gentle voice that sent the girls to his aid. What she heard was very different from the voice of God. In their heads, it was as if a mother were addressing her child with all her tenderness. The guy will have a hard time finding this voice that opposes the gods. He won't leave the girls alone until they tell him everything. It turned out that they were asked with all their prayers to help the guy. That was the only thing Ray could find out. It was all strange, but the guy had to figure it out. During the conversation, it was only thanks to the girls that Ray saw his burning hand. But this fire was a part of the guy and his new ability. He has the opportunity to add more strength, and this should not be passed up. Dead Henry will be the next one whose power the boy will receive. A slight delay left Ray stunned. It was at this awkward moment that April showed up for the next round. April couldn't shake the feeling that she saw someone familiar. Ray is just testing a theory, so there's no need to invent anything. It was hard when the girl realized who was standing in front of her. It was just a shadow of her loved one. It was interesting to watch a shadow that could bring back consciousness. April didn't care that her father's shadow stood in front of her. It was an opportunity to speak out. At such a touching moment, the voice interested the guy most of all. The guide had to remind us about the essence of the test in order to finally see the fight. April physically couldn't resist the chance to talk to her father, even if it was just his shadow. After such an important moment, she was ready to show her power. Ray wouldn't even mind seeing what his student has learned. The guy managed to defend himself, but he liked the fighting style. During their entire conversation, April herself studied Ray's behavior in battles. She anticipates all his attacks, but the girl couldn't protect herself from having her clothes ruined. Ray can only block all attacks in his direction. Looks like April tried too hard. The girl was so worried about the guy's life that she didn't notice how she was being attacked. At the same time, Ray could not leave her in this position. He was like a Superman who never forgot to give instructions. April wanted to hear more, but the guy's disappearance ruined everything. Ray wanted to help her, but the feelings in his head were mixed up and did not allow him to speak directly. The girl is ready to resort to harsh measures and destroy everything here, just to find a guy. As a sign of silence, she had to move her weapon to full attack position. It seems like they are really going to kill him. She enjoys watching the guy try to avoid getting hurt. Ray was not prepared to fight his own man. It's amazing that the girl easily deals with him with the help of his invention. Even with her talents, she must not let her guard down in front of the boss. A minute later, Ray took the advantage in this battle. April still underestimated her enemy, but this will be a good lesson for her. The guy did a poor job of preparing the girl for a real battle. They found time to discuss other team members. They both quickly came to the conclusion that Sarah had a secret plan. The girl knows about the guy spying on everyone in the team. It was the perfect moment to confess my complete devotion to the guy, but she hid her admiration for his person. Ray knows everything perfectly well, but there are some nuances here too. It turned out that the guy was only watching her, worrying about her mental state. He is ready to sacrifice himself so that the girl can move on. April cannot waste the one on whom the life of all humanity depends. The girl wants to give her life for him. She didn't wait for an answer and took matters into her own hands. Ray must go further to ensure that this sacrifice is not in vain. He will have to sweat to get to the end. Luck alone will not be enough here. There was time to think about a possible opponent. It will soon be clear whether he has guessed his future enemy, but he was as calm as possible before the battle. He was lucky, and victory came to him even without an enemy. This gave him time to recuperate and prepare for the game. Evan was a god, so fighting mortals was nothing to him. In such difficult times, Kostya taught me not to give up in the face of difficulties. No matter how she is determined, it is hard to compete with God himself. The girl simply had no chance of winning this round. Evan, however, enjoyed these fast-paced fights for his father's sake. He intends to return Ray to the world of the dead. Too much time had passed that the guy was already tired of resting. Perhaps it was a moment for a quiet lunch. It was decided to interrupt such a wonderful moment with delicious food with tests. This man was glad to meet a friend of his former enemy. But even such news won't tear the guy away from the crab. He had no intention of mourning his friend. Ray will see his friend alive after all this anyway, so there's no need to shed tears. However, thanks to this news, there is a reason to cut it in half. It seems that the enemy was just waiting to be bled. One man's sorrow is another man's joy in showing himself. Despite the confusing situation, the guy does not lose hope of dividing his body into parts. But this only amused the enemy. Finally, this something showed its true face. His body was an offering to summon a bloody monster in the flesh. He was a true god of sin. No one could defeat him. In 2 lifetimes, Ray had never encountered such power. He manages to avoid a direct hit with great difficulty, but luck quickly turned against him. This was the first time in his life that he had suffered such serious damage. Austin was great. He will gladly cleanse this world of all sinners. For this battle, the guy has amazing abilities that will regenerate him. Ray is happy to challenge such a creature. But no action of the guy leads to the desired result. He was on the verge of defeat. God will do anything to kill a sinner. All this reminded Austin of heretics who needed to be burned from the face of the earth. This battle will now be much more dangerous. Ray can only observe the enemy's actions. God will burn everything in his path with hellish fire. The guy hasn't run away from the fire yet. Austin doesn't have to do anything. No one can escape God's punishment. Ray has a chance to take advantage of his opponent's momentary weakness. In the past, at the moment of their own death, the parents continued to protect their son. The villagers were determined to get rid of the infected. The poor child became a victim of overly religious people. A nun intervened in this chaos. She didn't tell anyone to burn sick people. It's a sin. The woman decided to leave these sinful people together with her child. After everything that happened, Austin vowed to take revenge on everyone for his parents. But suddenly someone appeared in front of him who suggested not to wait. He carries the will of God that one cannot restrain one's desires. A couple of minutes later, the entire village paid for its sins. God did not spare anyone's sins. Austin was glad to see people in agony, but it wouldn't bring his parents back. Luckily for him, the creature next to him knows how to bring back the dead. He is asked to release the inner beast to kill all heretics. Austin will definitely make it to the end. The guy took advantage of his only chance. But God does not sleep. He sees everyone who attacks him. Ray has no room for error. It was the perfect moment to use the new power. Austin doesn't care about anything. God's protection won't let him die. Shadow Knights came to the boy's aid. It is possible that the crowd will be able to tear this believer apart. The guy could only watch as all the dirty work was done for him. He is haunted by the thought of replenishing the ranks of his army with the help of the enemy's forces. Ray is amazed by the respect with which his own shadows look at him. Meanwhile, Austin continues to try to kill the guy. God himself will do everything that Austin so desires. As a benefactor, he revealed the secret of his patron and the god of sin. This made Ray's desire to obtain this god stronger. What is happening simply does not fit in my head. Austin was on the verge of failure, but he did not despair. But it's too late to try to kill the guy. The advantage has gone from God. Now it is his turn to suffer. Austin had been on top all this time, but it had to come to an end. In any case, he achieved his goal. The parents will see their son. Despite his wounds, Ray must not deviate from his goal. He has difficulty absorbing the power. His life hangs by a thread. He was lucky that the shield appeared in time. I want to believe that he will be able to control all of this. Nothing interesting came into his head except testing his strength. The battle is over, so it's time to have some fun. Now he also has the shadow of the bull demon in his arsenal. Ray had a hard time avoiding the demon's knife attacks, but now he was completely at its mercy. All he had to do was wait for his next opponent. The news of the winner's death confused the guy. From the very beginning, the guide treated people like his own toys. It was a random selection of opponents. It was impossible to guess. There is a chance that he will have to fight with his friends again. The guide was happy to welcome the finalists. Ray was looking forward to another battle, not such a quick ending. It turned out that he had collected enough points to move forward. There were only 2 left, and Evan was the second finalist. Evan did not hide his joy at their new meeting. This ball decided to please everyone with new rules for this round. The guy is ready to unite to achieve real victory in this world, but the guide ruined all his wishes. He executed the loser. The deity needs only one winner who can pass through hell. Evan will have to kill a potential companion. It will be a quick round for him. Now Ray has to give his all to save his life. His abilities combine the impossible. He still has a chance to defeat a god. As it turns out, Evan's advantage isn't that great. The enemy's wings didn't stop the guy from appearing above him. He hit it on the first try, but there's definitely some catch. But his sword always turns people to dust. In fact, Evan didn't have a scratch on him. Even with a direct hit from such a sword, the guy did nothing to Evan. God is not so easy to defeat. The next attack left the guy stunned. Ray has too little information about Evan from his past life. He needs to improvise. He still relies on his sword. Don't underestimate Evan. He'll be happy to give you a masterclass. That's how Ray lost his arm. Even with all his abilities, the guy can easily be wiped out. All attempts to defeat Evan were pathetic. Ray tries everything he can, but it doesn't help much. Evan is looking forward to being attacked with all his might. The guy is ready to take a desperate step and die along with the enemy. The Shadow Knights are doing their job. Only now did Evan begin to worry about his own life. The decision was made to get rid of gravity. This gave Evan a chance to turn the game in his favor. Although he has problems in close combat, he managed to deal with the knight. There's no point in hiding from Evan. He'll always find his victim. Ray didn't even think about running away. He just wanted to take a new soul. Evan knows there's no one he can handle. But all this led to the fact that he decided to show all the anger of God. His real superpowers are unmatched by anything else. It turned out that he had a ring like Ray's. Until this moment, the boy did not know about all the abilities of his ring. Compared to the guy, Evan, with the same ring, has achieved much more. It was an exciting battle for the guy. At all costs, Ray must break this game. In this case, the ice will be his armor. It's nothing for Evan to stop a sword with his bare hands. He cannot be hurt due to his control over all flames. Ray couldn't have prepared himself for such a turn of events. But he has knights who will take the full brunt of the blow. They were different. But the boy's abilities and his shadow could lead to the death of a god. Even with these things, it won't be possible to hurt Evan. Ray doesn't give up. He believes in the superiority of ice over fire. It seems like he won. Suddenly, something pierced his body right through. Evan was stronger than all those who attacked him. He quickly destroyed them all. Ray had never suffered like this before. He can't afford to die because of all the people who believe in him. Nothing makes sense if he dies. You have to keep fighting for yourself. His willpower led to the release of the ring's power. The one who had been waiting for this moment for so long appeared before him. The ring of water awakened, and the entire area changed in an instant. They were destined to be here. It doesn't matter who she is. What matters is that now the chosen one stands before her. All this was something new for the guy. Until this moment, he could only create ice, but now water is also under his control. She gives him a choice to become the end or the beginning of this world. The guy had so many questions, but there was no point in asking them into the void. Suddenly, a creature appeared before him, counting on him. The space is changing again. It is unknown what to expect. The guy came to his senses when he was stabbed. This was no longer the same Ray who entered the fight. Evan won't let anyone be like him. Now all the advantage is on Ray's side. Evan is the only one of his kind who is worthy of being a god. But it was all over. From childhood, Evan was different from his peers. In short, a genius in the flesh. He was adored by everyone who ever saw him on their path. He was precocious and became a master of medicine at the age of 20. Only the father never found a reason to be proud of his son. Evan will do everything to help his mother finally come to her senses one day. But the end of the world ruined all his plans. Somehow, thanks to the zombies, he found a way to save his mother. Hope appeared in his heart, and with it a team was created to find a cure. Gradually his mother came to her senses. It was all not in vain, but we can't stop. For his mother's sake, he will not dare to lose. The power of water won't help the guy. He needs to find another way out. He intends to absorb Evan's soul. The battle was deadly. Despite all his wounds, Ray emerged victorious from this battle. Now Evan's soul belongs to the guy. It will serve him for eternity. Feeling Evan's tragedy, Ray decided to open up to him himself. He was losing blood, but the story about the woman came out of him as if it were a confession. In a past life, Ray was tasked with protecting a woman. His partner let it slip that he would be executed if anyone dared to look into the cell. The guy always did what he wanted. What opened before his eyes was a picture of neither a man nor even a zombie. Ray guesses that Evan simply went crazy after problems with his mother. He had already met madmen who called themselves gods. But Ray can't be called normal in this crazy world. He dreams of spending a day with his sister without any adventures. Although there are many people without whom he cannot go off into the sunset. At the end of the final test, the guide will arrange a meeting between the winner and God. It is unknown where the boy will be sent. Who would have thought that Ray would end up in a place of sacrifice? All possible traitors gathered around him. Without knowing it, Ray showed ignorance towards all the gods here. The creature immediately pointed out the consequences. The guy quickly corrected himself. He simply forgot about bowing because of divine greatness. Now Ray bows his head, but in the future this will be done in front of him. But this was not the end. It was necessary to swear allegiance to the gods. Ray is willing to do anything to explore this world. Immediately after his words, a serious injury was received. One of the merchants gave everyone the order to kill the guy if he disobeyed. After some time, Ray came to his senses again in a new place. He didn't intend to kill the guy. He just needed to plant the seed in him. The guy will never survive the explosion of semen due to violations. All powers were granted by these creatures. The real instigators of this whole nightmare stand before Ray. It is still unclear why someone would decide to destroy the entire world. God warned about the consequences even for harsh words. It turns out he saved the guy from a worthless life in the ordinary world. In a real world without zombies, Ray would be just an ordinary person with no bright future. He would have died in the office without ever knowing the taste of life. The betrayal of his beloved would haunt him constantly. There was no one who could help him in his difficult moment. Despair would have consumed the guy from head to toe, and there would have been no end to it. Looks like Ray needs to be thanked for saving him from such a boring life. In the new world, the roads are open to everyone with strength. You can get anything you want. You have to work for them to continue enjoying the end of the world. But Ray still doesn't understand the ultimate purpose of this apocalypse. There is no point in revealing everything to the guy. You need to try really hard for that. He asks the guy to just make his base and people much stronger. In fact, the guy was going to do it himself, without anyone's prompting. When the time comes, they will come to the guy again. It's time for him to embark on a mission with new advantages. And the guy returned to the challenge field. Finally, he will receive all the awards that he honestly deserved. Ray's efforts were not in vain. The prizes were good. He even received what he didn't have in his past life. All this quickly turned into an ordinary but heavy bag. The test is over, so the guide doesn't intend to keep an eye on the guy. The time has come when he can return to the normal world. This ball will forever remember the guy and prepare him for their future meeting. Upon returning, the guy didn't immediately recognize the city. Almost immediately, other test participants appeared in the sky. April was lucky. The guy himself managed to catch her. The lives of the rest were in the hands of the Shadow Knights. Their wounds were not repaired, but there was no doctor nearby. He has a recovery potion in his hands, but it is definitely not enough for everyone. A little more and the girl will die in the prime of her life. Suddenly Greg spoke up. He could save everyone if they saved him. The guy's choice determines whether all his friends will survive. Eventually, Evan's shadow was ordered to bring Greg to his master's feet. He was carried like a sack of potatoes. Ray killed the strongest, so it would be easy for him to deal with Greg if something happened. Greg will do anything to save himself. The restoration potion was given to him. In exchange, he would save the remaining lives. His method of treatment may seem strange, but it must be done. The most important thing for a guy is to see his friends alive. It looked like the girl was being beaten again. Greg had to do it for the common good. It was strange, but the girl's wounds began to heal. It turned out that Greg needed to believe in something for this miracle to happen. April came to her senses. The boy needs to leave a couple and take care of the others. The girl missed the moment when the guy saved her again. The test is over, and now she can return to her favorite team. After their recovery, Christy and Trevor inquired about the couple's condition. April was fine, but she still falls over after hearing those words. The guy is always ready to lend his strong shoulder. Christy wouldn't mind being in April's place in Ray's arms. Trevor was calm. His friend's daughter was in good hands. Ray was faced with the choice of treating the remaining people who could cause problems. Greg clearly saw the thirst for murder in the guy's eyes. He can easily help get rid of them. The guy intends to cure them. Ray doesn't want to take the lives of her enemies when they can all unite for a good cause. And Greg couldn't help but agree. Even the girl sees no reason to show kindness. Ray met real enemies that only the strongest can defeat. Christy wants to either rest or go to a meeting with the team. She tried to contact her sister, but all attempts failed. Ray has no intention of wasting time. They are all gathered for the further journey. Greg is all alone in this world. He would like to join the guy. In the team, Ray will quickly tear off his wings of freedom. He wants to follow the one who saved him even after the battle. It seemed that they didn't want to take him because of his age. But Ray decided to almost ceremoniously announce him as a new member of the team. Meanwhile, Jason rejoiced at the new explosion that destroyed part of the city. Together, they set out to search for their people. With the help of the guy's ability, he managed to subdue the beast. During the trip, Greg was incessant and asked various questions. April was extremely unhappy with his behavior. Ray had once been to the city they were heading to, but not everyone can pass through its steel fortress. The idea of a rest stop was suggested. At least April would see what she got. She wants to be like Ray and be close to him. The guy didn't expect to receive a mirror as a reward. Who would have thought that thanks to a mirror, the planet would be visible? On the map, he quickly found his new targets for extracting the ill-fated seed. It seems that the gods did not choose only him. The road was good until someone blocked their way. The man came here to pick up Ray. Leo went in search of the boss, whom the guy had definitely seen. Ray didn't deny fighting him, but this whole conversation doesn't make sense. The man must bring the boss back. Without him, the life of the Heavenly Wheel is in danger. The death of his boss was like a bolt from the blue for him. Leo has no intention of listening to these lies. He will beat the truth out of Ray. Everyone was ready to stand up for the guy. A couple of seconds later, Leo was caught by the shadow of his dead boss. He can't believe his eyes. Ray was touched by such devotion to the boss, so he took pity and showed it to him. But this was the last thing Leo saw in his life. As it turned out, the man is not against dying at the hands of his master. Now Ray is waiting for the one who sent Leo here to appear. He knows that there is someone more powerful behind all this. The girl couldn't help but notice the guy's observation skills. There was an enemy standing before them. But Trevor couldn't take his loving gaze off her. Ray waits to be attacked again. Wanda knows that she is one of the tasks from the gods. The team recognized her as a superstar. She immediately noticed how everyone perked up at the appearance of such a famous person. As a sign of gratitude, she will not mock their dead bodies. In a second, she changed her form. Nobody expected to see the star like this. Their world collapsed. Ray can handle it on his own. He doesn't need any help. Assistance will only hinder him. Wanda was disappointed with the guy's attempts to hurt her. The guy is brainstorming. He needs to distract the girl from her people. In fact, the girl's only target is the guy. Christy and Greg can't sit still. They have to help their owner. April had a hard time stopping them. They all had to follow orders. She asked to change the route so as not to disturb the guy. Wanda expected much more from the divine messenger. The girl intends to have a good time. She kept wondering how the guy became the best until he attacked her himself. Ray successfully attacked her, but his speed was inferior to Wanda's. The girl wants to tear this worthless guy apart. The guy himself couldn't fight her properly because of her divine beauty. Wanda can share a body, but she must take Ray's life for herself. The conditions were tempting, but he could do all this without losing his life. There was no point in fighting alone when the shadows always came to the rescue. Wanda didn't expect to see so many abilities in one person. It shouldn't have happened this way. Yes, Ray has his pros and cons, but he has enough strength to get rid of Wanda. The girl was wrong. She didn't plan to fight such a strong guy. Ray had too many shadows in stock. He has his own methods that bring his own advantages in front of strong enemies. Even with her speed, the girl lost. Disappointment haunts her. In general, Ray would not have been able to catch Wanda even if she had such a strong desire to fight. Thanks to all the events in his life, Ray has achieved a lot. Wanda was good at everything, but that didn't save her from losing. The guy couldn't look at her normally, even though they looked alike. Ray is not the only one who has met the gods. There is another one standing right in front of him. He decided to propose to act against the common enemy. Wanda had nothing to lose. All her friends and base were destroyed. She does not want to be either an instrument or an angel of the gods. Wanda just wants to kill them. For her honesty, she also showed her seed, which led her to great losses. On the testing field, she could not help her people. They were literally burning before her eyes. She could only watch. The guide was damn pleased with the unfolding picture. Wanda must become strong to avenge all her loved ones. Ray knows that in such a world there will be no winner among them. For the first time, Wanda showed emotions she doesn't want to be weak in the eyes of others. The guy wants to believe in her honesty. In any case, he will easily kill her. The team continued to move forward with a heavy burden on their hearts. April can't stop thinking about Wanda's dangerous charm. Suddenly, Greg added fuel to the fire with memories of Wanda. The girls are confident that their boss will not fall for the enemy's beauty. Unexpectedly for everyone, Ray joined the team along with Wanda. They all started making excuses for bullying the child. Ray introduced everyone to a new member of the team who should be treated with all due respect. She imagines how she will make friends with everyone after her unfortunate appearance. The guy, without a second thought, brought such a beauty into the team. Everyone noticed how April changed after this news. Wanda told about the city where the survivors are gathering. Ray knows that not everyone will go there due to a banal lack of food. The girl heard about a miracle man who creates food himself. Everyone would like to have this ability themselves, and Wanda couldn't help but agree with them. Christy seemed to understand why people were running there. April added that you can only work with such a person, it is impossible to kill him. Wanda enjoyed talking to such an intelligent girl. Despite her embarrassment, the girl continued to discuss the issues of the number of people and food. Wanda expects them to end up in purgatory. Ray collected enough food to cover all his people. On the way to the city, a variety of creatures were encountered in the sky. The woman had difficulty getting to the city. She urgently needs help. The men had no intention of being distracted by her. Only the guy easily shared food with her. Unfortunately, her child no longer needed this piece. He stopped breathing a long time ago. The woman's heart was broken. She couldn't cope. Even Greg's miracle won't be enough to revive the child. The woman was grateful for the help, but she didn't need it anymore. She doesn't need anything else. These were her last words in life. These pathetic men immediately demanded that the meat be given to them, as they supposedly needed it more than others. The insult directed at them provoked a negative reaction. Wanda wants to deal with these dirty men herself. Before the men could even move, the ice pierced them. Ray can only spare someone who fulfills his request. The guy demands to be taken away despite all the danger. The team was lucky to meet such a person who knows the whole territory. The city zone greeted them with a disgusting smell. They had to come here because of the last message from Sarah. Ray doesn't want to think about it, but he'll probably have to get the team out of trouble. April tried to contact Sarah a couple of hours ago, but nothing happened. At some point they heard a strange noise. With difficulty, they made out the address where they needed to go. Almost immediately they were attacked in the zone, but the monster did not live long. The girl is a little scared at the thought that stronger zombies await them further on. Ray is worried for the same reason. After what happened, the man wants to run away, but the guy himself must allow this. Greg doesn't want to leave alone the one who turned a blind eye to people's deaths. They were happy to be released. For some, the guy's intentions to be kind remain a mystery. Ray doesn't want to blame people for their actions during the end of the world. Everyone heard a strange noise, and Wanda rushed to find its source. The news about the girl and the animals shocked them. Perhaps Greg is still too young to understand people's feelings. The girl bravely confronted the rhinoceroses. This slippery man enjoyed this picture. Kate found herself in this situation because she refused to marry this slug. Rick takes insults very seriously, so revenge was not long in coming. The girl failed to cope with the task. There was no time to listen to her apologies. I needed to save myself. Ray will do everything himself, but she must end up in safe hands. Wanda was on the team at the perfect time. The life of these animals will end in a couple of minutes. Rick didn't see all the enemies, which was bad for him. Trevor won't let his girls get hurt. Rick, a disgusting person, sensing danger, decided to run away, but Greg won't let him get away with it. It's time to show him your own miracles. In a moment, the rhinoceros is gone. He needs to run, but he can't even get up. Everyone is waiting for the guy to deal with this worthless guy. Ray resorted to a trick. He would let the man go in exchange for valuable information. He only knows that the messenger of the gods wanted to catch the woman. Rick also reported that an important person had been injured. The guy heard about an ability that can save, but it takes someone else's life. Rick intends to leave after this whole story. He remembered the face of the one who humiliated him in order to take revenge. But he didn't have a chance to get anywhere. April didn't make a promise not to touch the man. Her conscience is clear. Almost immediately, his soul passed into the possession of the guy. Wanda wasn't the only beauty on the guy's team. Greg was blinded by Kate's beauty, but he needed to pull himself together and cure her. Kate had already suffered enough, and the treatment was not the easiest. But soon everything will pass. We need to look for the others. It was difficult for the girl to talk about their difficult situation. They came to the shelter, but the atmosphere there was oppressive. Sarah followed the sounds, hoping that Kate had brought food. Ray was prepared for anything, but this picture shocked him. The girl did not hide her happiness that they were no longer alone. Help had arrived. The guy wonders what it was that so upset the calm Sarah. She briefly described the guy's careful path to his goal. At first, everything was fine, but because of one incident, they were not left behind. They were attacked with the aim of taking Halsey away for an unknown purpose. Only thanks to the baby were they able to escape. They managed to escape, but now the baby is gradually losing strength and dying. Unfortunately, Greg's miracles won't help here. Such a simple cause of death as aging surprised the guy. At the end of the tunnel lay the remaining members of the team. They had been shaken badly. It was a shocking picture for everyone. Ray was most worried about his sister, to whom nothing good had definitely happened. Sarah blamed herself for everything. With her powers, she was unable to protect people. The guy could hardly contain himself, but he wasn't going to blame the girl. He quickly began giving orders to at least somehow put everything in order. Halsey needs to be developed so they can move forward. Ray will leave no one who dares to touch his people. The girl seemed to be dreaming that the guy was standing in front of her. I had to beat her up a little to finally bring her to her senses. Who would have thought that her dream would come true? Ray appreciated their efforts, but now he needed the girl's help. Halsey passed out due to loss of strength, but now she seems to be doing well. The guy will do everything to make the girl become stronger in levels. She was only in 3rd place, but she needs to achieve more. Ray understands how much they have suffered, but they need to develop to get back on track. The only thing the guy worries about is that the girl won't have enough courage for all this. Halsey is determined to get revenge, so she will go through all the suffering. They are ready to move only forward. At the junkyard, the men waited too long for Rick. Honestly, they hoped that the man had been brutally beaten in the street. Martin could have caught his target, but he was brazenly thwarted. Ray arrived in time to remove the crown from the man's head. Martin was not at all surprised by the appearance of another divine messenger. He had good people who wouldn't let anyone hurt him. The guy is stronger than all of them put together. The company didn't like such a bold statement, and they will tear him to pieces for it. The Shadow Army was immediately called to battle. They were not prepared for this. Even in shadow form, Rick has the ability to summon beasts. A couple of minutes, and the men were shown their place in this world. Ray didn't even move from his spot, but the job was done. The man has been to the victim's place, and he himself does not want to die. It is foolish to beg for mercy from someone who came to avenge his friends. Without a shadow of regret, he killed him. Then it was Martin's turn to answer for all his actions. Halsey saw the guy as a strong monster who would save them. Martin had good defense. It will be difficult to break through. This time, Ray will come up with something interesting to kill his equal. But the man could have stopped the guy from the very beginning when he first attacked them. As a divine messenger, he proposed unity. He wants to rule this world, and together they can share the profits. Martin told him about the reward from the Lord for the sage. The man listed almost the entire list of awards for such a person. Eventually, he may become the strongest man in the world. Martin can provide as many women as he wants in exchange for the sage. Ray will never agree to this. The guy is furious. Standing in front of him is the one who injured his sister. The guy will kill this scoundrel in the most brutal way. Only now did the man realize how strong the guy in front of him was. Halsey was scared along with him, but she didn't even think about stopping her boss. Martin is not so easy to kill. He will turn everyone into dust with his fog. But an army of shadows stood against him, and the fog had no effect on them. It was his most advanced ability, and it didn't help at all. For the first time in his life, Ray truly enjoyed killing. Only half of his body remained, but he was still alive. With his last breath, Martin shifted all the blame onto the Lord. Ray needs to destroy the man's seed to kill him once and for all. But he didn't want his loved ones to see him in this state. It's Halsey's turn to suffer. She needs to find the dealer. Her search ended too quickly. Ray gave her a little instruction before her first trade. The story is not over yet, but for now the guy cannot interfere with the girl's development. He only had to wait when suddenly his whole body shook. Shadow was grateful for her promotion. Unbeknownst to him, Ray evolved due to the murder of a divine messenger. The space changed again, and 5 lights surrounded the guy. The guide congratulated the messenger who killed his own kind. Next, the guy will need to kill the opponent, and there is no time to waste. Ray was the first to commit such a murder. The guy doesn't want to be a target for the other messengers. but he became interested in what the impudent man who spoke to him looked like. Halsey brought the guy back down to earth. Her trade was a success. The guy's head was splitting. He didn't immediately hear about the girl's results. Halsey tried to cure him. She wants to find a new merchant to continue and develop further. Ray made her way easier with the potion in his hands. But the girl doubts that she should drink it. Halsey can refuse this if she doesn't want to experience hellish pain. Memories of all the torment haunt her. She must stand up for herself. The girl simply has to take advantage of the chance to become stronger much faster. It was terrible, but she had to go through it herself. Suddenly a crowd of people appeared, who were looking for the sage. Richard will deal with the guy for the insults. They didn't immediately notice the corpses around Ray. Some suggested that the boss retreat so as not to end up in the place of the corpses. He had to shake everyone up so that no one would dare give up. He was angry at people's reaction. Richard believes the guy is exhausted after such a fight. This was their only chance to win. At the same time, Halsey was going through hell. These little people opened fire on orders. Even a grenade launcher was used. After a direct hit, they went to collect the reward. But who would have thought that a grenade launcher wouldn't leave even a scratch on the guy? Their whole plan failed because of the monster in the human body. After seeing everything, the boss ran ahead of everyone. But it was too late. Ray would get everyone. He quickly dealt with the arrogant boss. Halsey seemed to be on edge. Her life had been difficult in the past, but she wanted to become a doctor. Nobody was going to help her. She quickly regretted her speech to the staff. Only Rebecca paid attention to her. She liked the new girl's attitude. After that, Halsey constantly followed Rebecca. The girl wanted to thank her mentor with a chic dress, but her world quickly collapsed due to the end of the world. Halsey couldn't move from the spot because of fear. Rebecca was still alive. She wouldn't let anyone harm her partner. She prevents zombies from attacking. Unfortunately, she won't leave here alive. The fate of a zombie awaits her. Halsey has to leave her to save her own skin. The girl almost fell into the hands of a zombie. Rebecca fought the zombies until the very end, until she herself became one of them. With God's help, she was able to protect Halsey from herself. Finally, Rebecca thanked everyone for everything that had been done for her. Halsey can't bear to lose another loved one. Rebecca can't be her savior anymore. It's time to move on. A girl must be strong. A lot depends on her. People in the city saw a huge pillar of light. Jason is happy about this. The sage he needs is developing. He was getting worse with each passing hour. This needed to be ended quickly. Halsey literally defeated herself. It was a great job, worth a rest after. Ray admires Halsey's resilience. People came to the Lord and immediately refused his request. Even the girl was amazed by the courage of some of them. Jason understands their choice. He will achieve his goal no matter what. The girl is infuriated by this disrespect for the person on whom the life of the city depends. The Lord's plans are grandiose. He intends to bring absolutely everyone under his control. After the ordeal, the boy was a shield for everyone. He was responsible for the girl's safety while she was unconscious. Ray confirmed all the girls' suspicions about Halsey's success. They were happy to see their new savior. April's main goal is to become the wife of such a wonderful man. But now she needs to take care of the security of this place. As soon as they started talking about this, an uninvited guest appeared. Thanks to the modified glasses, Sarah immediately noticed an increase in Halsey's strength. During the conversation, the girl casually mentioned the past 6 months. Ray wasn't surprised. He was even prepared for time to pass so quickly. And now he needs to find out everything that was missed. She prepared a whole report especially for this moment. Suddenly she noticed the silence of Halsey, who had already come to her senses. She just didn't want to interrupt such a serious conversation. Sarah will not tolerate such modesty when troubles surround them on all sides. Awkwardness surrounded them when the conversation turned to their diet. Just looking at the food made Ray gag. In the absence of the guy, Sarah, like everyone else, was forced to make do while hunting them. Ray will not allow his people to starve to death. With its help, everyone will finally enjoy fresh food. They haven't seen such a quantity of food for a long time that definitely won't give them a stomachache. Kate was so eager to report the danger, but the smell of food distracted her. She overcame herself with difficulty. The impending threat was more important than anything. Ray, as the leader, will deal with everyone until the team finally recovers. April had to deal with the zombies that followed the stranger. She just delivered the invitation. Who knew that everything would turn out like this? It was all said with confidence, but April wasn't going to believe her after all the damage she'd done. She will have to be resourceful to win people over. Gloria lifted the veil on the rewards the Lord promised to provide. She even protected April from zombies. To make matters more convincing, she told them about the important people they had found. The news about Ray's parents made April nervous. Only in case of cooperation does Gloria promise to reunite the family. The girl did not hide her threat, so she is expecting a positive response. Even though April was strong, she couldn't make such decisions. Gloria thought that the leader of the team was standing in front of her, but how wrong she was. Appearing out of nowhere, Ray immediately gave his consent. His parents were kidnapped, and he won't just leave it all behind. April is ready to take on the attack of a crowd of zombies while the guy gets down to business. The way the guy hid behind the woman's back disappointed Gloria. Just as April was about to get down to business, Ray took over. The entire crowd of zombies was neutralized in a couple of seconds. Gloria's first impression had failed her. Only now did she see a truly strong person. She couldn't miss out on such a valuable item. Before the expedition, Ray is obliged to explain himself to his people. But before that, she reminded him of the sage, who is the main purpose of the deal. April doesn't believe they are walking into a trap of their own free will. Ray had no other choice. He must meet with the Lord to stop the attack on the people. The girl expects a threat on every corner in the city center. The guy couldn't help but notice how much the girl was worried about him. He was pleased, but nothing bad will happen to him for sure. How April wants to be as strong as he is. After such words, he had to hide his emotions. Once everyone had had a good meal, Halsey took care of everyone's health. After leveling up, she gained new healing abilities. The guy knows all this because he came up with it himself. Sarah made sure that everyone on the team ate properly. The news about being sent to the city center did not make her happy either. There is no need to be afraid now, as Halsey has become much stronger. Her abilities even led to the restoration of severed limbs. It was impossible to hold back tears when looking at this miracle. The first thing Ray did was go to his sister family is the most important thing. Seeing this, April wanted to suffer so that such care would be shown to her. The guy tried for a long time to convince Maggie that she was recovering. She was afraid to open her eyes because she did not believe that her vision would be restored. It was only because she believed in the guy that she did it. Unfortunately, the miracle did not happen, and the vision did not return. Halsey's strength didn't help her. The girl doesn't want to live like this. The guy will do everything to save his sister from the dark world. What she fears most is not blindness. What she doesn't want most is to be a burden. No one could believe that the healing power was not enough. Halsey has spent all her energy on people. She needs to rest too. Exhaustion overtook her too quickly. Halsey was on edge, but she couldn't stop healing everyone. The guy doesn't want to see such a useless death, when strength can no longer help here. He needs to get rid of the rot in his eyes from a strong opponent. The girl still needs to level up so that she has enough strength for such a task. Sarah would like to know a way to get to this quickly. Ray doesn't have an answer to this question, but he'll definitely come up with something. Each time, anger towards the deities that cause death grows exponentially. When everyone has come to their senses, we can head out into the city. Sarah will have a completely different task. He needs all his people to hide and become stronger. The girl will do everything to bring only benefit to the team. Ray is counting on her help. The guy wants Sarah to realize all the responsibility on her shoulders. Since they met, Ray has become more mature. Greg and Wanda are not going to stand by during such an important expedition. The guy likes this attitude, but he definitely doesn't need a useless death. But death does not frighten them. A whole squad had gathered, and Gloria was already tired of waiting for it. Jason only wants to see the sage. The rest must be disposed of. On the way, Gloria promised everyone a warm welcome. Strangely enough, Wanda remembered the times when she was queen. Everyone will be shocked when she appears in town. Gloria, by hook or by crook, blinds people with pleasant words. Spencer and Kevin couldn't wait for the blood of their enemies to decorate the area. It seemed that with all his strength, Spencer was afraid. But he decided to clearly show that he had enough courage to fight. People were preparing for a meeting with the sage. For them, it was a real holiday. The beast scared everyone, but as long as they leave it alone, nothing bad will happen. Gloria expected to meet the Lord right away, not these two. Before that, Kevin simply has to conduct a welcoming ceremony. As if by magic, the glove became a dove. Greg himself works miracles. But this is the first time he has encountered something like this. Everyone was warned of the danger from these two. Halsey was the chosen one. The dove immediately found her among the crowd. The girl had no idea what awaited her, but the guy tried to do at least something. A second later, she disappeared into a flock of pigeons. You have to be cruel, and April was ready to stop the birds with bullets. The shooting caused a riot and the gun scared the crap out of everyone. April was late. Their friend flew into the clutches of the enemy. Ray didn't come here to rest. He will overcome all obstacles on the way to the Lord. But now, according to city laws, men are required to remove troublemakers. Spencer will be happy to show off all his skills. They are surrounded by an unusual force of ice. They need to be extremely careful. This was something new. An ice form appeared before everyone's eyes. It's as if they are all in a huge refrigerator. April will easily spend all her bullets just to clear the way for her partners. Kevin's magic prevents the bullets from harming him. Glitter surrounds him. Wanda will show you a masterclass with her sharp claws. The blow was accurate, but even so, it was impossible to damage the paper. None of them were prepared for a fight in such an environment. The weapon can't withstand such cold, it's difficult even to move your hands. And Wanda's speed left her. Within a minute, Greg became ill in such a refrigerator. Ray will have to deal with the envoys himself. Suddenly, the thought of his own defeat appeared in the icy form's head. He tried with all his might to stop the battle in order to avoid disaster. Kevin had never been asked for help, but that had changed. He was ahead of everyone because of his miracles. The man is simply stalling for time so that their entire plan doesn't fall through. The team didn't come here to kill, but to help. Priorities should be higher. Ray can save people, but it shouldn't cost the lives of his team. They were touched that at the end of the world they were still not alone. Greg was happy to see such a kind person, so his desire to help doubled. They were preparing for a battle that Ray was not destined to participate in. They have to try much harder not to let the boss down. Gloria didn't miss the chance to watch the guy go into the enemy's lair. Ray must teach everyone a lesson for treating people like that. The guy moved to the right place, but something was wrong here. The special forces immediately met him in full readiness. Ray will never obey them. No one can stop him. Special forces must play their role in this difficult time for the city. But they have enemies more terrible than the messengers. The mere mention of the White Witch made everyone shudder. It seems that the enemy managed to catch the guy off guard. However, nothing happens without a reason. Ray was expecting this attack. The stranger was not at all frightening. His plan failed too quickly. No one has ever been able to escape from the guy's shadows. It takes some incredible abilities to hide from Ray. It's hard for enemies to resist the guy's blade. Surprisingly, he managed to stop the blade. This time it seemed Ray was not fighting a human. In a couple of minutes, the unknown person got rid of the intruder, about whom legends were practically made. But he had no idea that nothing was over yet. He was disappointed that he had defeated such a great man so easily. The enemy is left to move on with sadness in his soul. It looks like he just killed his captive son. It was a blow for the parents. The woman could not lose her baby. Unfortunately, he just tore Ray to pieces. In the hearts of parents, there still remains the hope that they are being bullied. There is no point in him lying now. He had no intention of feeling sorry for anyone, even if he saw someone he knew. But a man could keep the father of the family for himself. A father is ready to spend his whole life for his son, just to take revenge. The enemy will be glad if he maintains this enthusiasm. He wanted to continue torturing the captives, but he was stopped. Ray appeared in all his glory after his death. His plan worked perfectly, though that was how he wanted to get to the Lord. But he was brought to the most important people. Luck was on Ray's side. He was happy to see his parents alive. Luckily, his girlfriend can heal all their wounds. How much they worried about their son, but now they can breathe a sigh of relief. From now on, he won't allow anyone to lay a finger on them. But there was also bad news about her sister. Ray will fix everything. To be honest, they doubted the guy would succeed in defeating the Lord. During the entire disaster, the guy became much stronger. He will save everyone. The mother did not want to let her son go, but she could only wish him good luck. He has nothing to fear. The Lord will fall by his hand. The prepared people were just waiting for the guy to come out to them. One of the captains of this city was unhappy with the death of his man. The guy doesn't really want to listen to someone who will become a corpse in a couple of minutes. Tom was under protection. People would carry out any of his orders. Ray was so advanced that shooting from a machine gun would not harm him. It's time to show him how to fight. Reinforcements came to the rescue. However, the ice quickly cooled their ardor. Tom had expected a different outcome, but now it's all over. It was Audrey's turn to show that she was more than just a secretary. And Ray was ready for this. Only his fire was reflected, which the guy encountered for the first time. Audrey will teach a lesson to anyone who behaves so rudely in such a place. She was also a divine messenger, but much more powerful. At that moment, Tom could only envy Ray's beauty. The guy won't hold back in front of such a strong opponent. Such powers did not impress Audrey. The haze surrounded everyone, but Tom couldn't do anything. This cheap trick disappointed everyone, but the surprise was still to come. With the help of his faithful assistant, Ray will reach the Lord. Tom was morally broken and humiliated. The guy didn't come here to fight the Lord, he just needed to talk to him. The prisoner can only lament the boy's failure. Meanwhile, Audrey, unknowingly, was fighting with the shadow. She was not prepared for such a turn of events. Ray left a special shadow on the girl. The most important thing for a guy is to reach his goal. Tom's tip turned out to be wrong. He didn't know the Lord's new location. The guy was wrong. For some reason, he didn't foresee the worst possible course of events. He had to go out the window to somehow catch up with the enemy. The situation is critical. The team failed to cope with the attack. Halsey did her best to heal the wounds of those still able to fight. Jason couldn't help but praise the girl's skill. But that wasn't enough. Unfortunately, Halsey spent all her energy on recovery. Things were really bad. A man doesn't like it when no one pays attention to him. One blow, and the girl was unable to get up. But with the last of her strength, she tried to protect her friends. April won't let a man even touch Halsey. She will fight to the last until their boss shows up. Jason prepared for this meeting in such a way that no boss would have had time to show up to his people. Everyone did exactly as he needed. As a token of gratitude, he will quickly send the girl to heaven. It seemed like these were April's last moments of life. Just as Ray's guardian angel had saved her from the worst, it was his turn to fight. Jason doesn't care who he fights. The guy was serious about this round. Surprisingly, he quickly realized what was happening and rushed to help. But Ray also liked that it wasn't a ram standing in front of him. They've had enough of this talk. Jason's fists are itching. The guy had the same desire to fight. The difference in strength astonished April. But she clearly remembers that the Lord could have become stronger, but for some reason he did not. Gloria suddenly appeared and explained why the strength-enhancing potion had not been used yet. Of course, she came here for the sage. The girl intends to use her power to get not only the sage, but also the Lord himself. She hadn't spent time with him for a long time. April will have to fight one-on-one again. The responsibility of keeping Halsey alive fell on her shoulders. Despite the bear's strength, April was able to block the attack. For the last time, she wants to borrow power from her machine. All this led to the transformation of the girl. She will no longer be able to call on the robot for help. But such a sacrifice for the machine is worth the victory. Gloria didn't expect to see something like this from such a weakling. In just a split second, the bear was destroyed once and for all. Apart from the Lord, Gloria had not seen such beautiful girls for a long time. After this battle, Gloria intends to keep April for herself in any condition. She is ready to make every effort to achieve this. April doesn't care how strong the person in front of her is. The attack was almost complete, but the girl's engine began to fail. At the wrong time, both the robot and the body refused to work. She can't even stand up. It was the perfect time for Gloria to have fun with her new toy. New beasts were called to battle. April has one last chance left where she can somehow defend herself. Jason can't wait for the battle to take on new colors. Who would have known that the guy's trump card is the strength of his team? It's hard for a man to believe that in times like these, anyone still talks about trust. Ray so wants to punish the one who has lost simple faith in people. There is no chance of defeating Jason, no matter how angry the guy is. Now it's time for help from Ray. The man did not expect to encounter such a special power. The guy had a very large team. But even this addition did not frighten Jason, but only disappointed him. The man was not a divine messenger, but he had enough strength to capture the city. The sight of another ring struck Ray. A boy's abilities are worth nothing compared to a man's ring. At the same time, April was no longer able to even move. Gloria was already tired of breaking the girl's shell. She urgently needs to pull herself together, but her body won't obey. I had to hand Jason over to the shadows. He urgently needs to help the girl. The man never explained the full difference between them. As proof of their differences, the snake appeared in all its glory. The guy would also like to have the power to control metal. The snake was serious. This useful ability was, unfortunately, turned against him. Jason only needed the sage, but now he will kill everyone. Before the murder, he does not intend to reveal all his plans. April tried her best to do something, but she couldn't cope without help. When Halsey came to, she couldn't just watch. Every movement was difficult for her, but she had to help her friend. She just can't lose again. Gloria kept directing the animals towards the girl. Halsey's power brought April back to her senses. April simply has to fight to the bitter end for Halsey. It was as if she had gotten a second wind. The entire new attack was directed only at Gloria. In this state, the animals did not frighten until they broke their weapons. For Gloria, this was a new reason to laugh. April has no problem dealing with a girl with her bare hands. Her physical strength was also high. In the end, they both lost consciousness. But the animals became cute toys again. Jason would have loved to watch another battle like this. He wanted to end the battle, but the flames confused him. But even such a fire will not stop him for long. That's what he thought until everything exploded. It was difficult for him to withstand such an unusual fire. Ray himself possesses the powerful power of the ring. Jason won't let anyone be on his level. The guy was on the edge. His strength was already being used. His snakes will be more powerful than the enemy's monster. Jason saw with his own eyes how his iron snake melted. It seems that someone stronger than the man has been found after all. The guy was happy to show himself. Ray decided not to stop there and show his true power. Jason can't lose to some kid. While the dragons are having fun among themselves, Ray has more important things to do. He is grateful to the girl for all her efforts. With the help of the ring, she was enclosed in a bubble for recovery. This will help temporarily, of course, but that's all the guy can do for now. Halsey's condition was even worse. At best, she has 10 minutes. We need to defeat all enemies as quickly as possible and find help. Surprisingly, the metal dragon copes well with its own kind. It seems that the man is still stronger. Ray was already fed up with all this fuss. Jason didn't expect such a fast attack and couldn't stop the sword. The guy's attack was excellent, only luck will help him survive here. Naturally, thanks to the ring, his strength increased significantly. It's impossible to be physically stronger than Jason, but it is true. The guy has 2 rings. The advantage has always been on his side. This news was the worst for Jason. Soon, he will have 3 of them. Audrey suddenly appears and asks not to kill the Lord for the sake of the life of the whole city. She never stopped begging for it. Ray doesn't care about this city, but he'll do this for the people. Unfortunately, he has no safe place for himself or his parents. Jason was humiliated, and he was seen in such a pathetic position. Audrey wants to protect the Lord not only because of the kingdom. The guy in the chair spent years of his life creating food. Ray is not sure that such a desperate step was the only way to get food. He is ready to listen to the last reason why it is worth saving a person. Audrey knows a lot but doesn't want to tell everything to a stranger. Jason isn't going to trust the guy. He knows how all the messengers bowed their heads before the creatures. The guy responded to all these accusations with silence. If Jason could, he would tear the guy to pieces. Ray simply adapted to the situation for his own benefit. The desire to know the truth has its own meaning for the guy. Only after the truth will Jason's fate be decided. The city gathers the strongest to confront those who destroyed this world. Ray was not the only one who saw the power of those creatures that were frightening in their very appearance. Audrey wants to gather the strongest to win. She had to humiliate herself in order to save all the remaining lives. The people were on the Lord's side, they wanted to live. For the sake of all people, Jason can fight once more. Ray won't hurt anyone in exchange for the ring and medics for his team. The doctors appeared as if out of thin air. At the same time, they did not leave the Lord, they were afraid for his condition. The guy fulfills the request of a real deity to save the world. Hope for a happy future settled in Jason's heart. As a reward for his loyalty, he may provide another ring. Audrey has no intention of giving up what is essentially her only source of power. The man, unlike her, looks ahead. A struggle began within the girl between her desires and the fate of the world. But by doing so, they will be able to gain a foothold and live in a normal world. Audrey has no point in arguing with the Lord when he has already decided everything. But Ray won't get the 4th ring for nothing. First, the doctors need to leave so that secrets don't become public. The guy will fulfill fair conditions. The Lord wants to remain in charge of the city, which will be under Ray's protection. In fact, the guy had planned to do just that. Jason wasn't wrong about him, and the world really can be a better place. While talking, the man almost lost the sage. He cannot allow this to happen. People immediately went to collect blood for the sage. They need to move on while the doctors do their job. At the warehouse, Jason showed the main treasure. Ray understands perfectly well how these potions could have fallen into the hands of the Lord. A feeling of awkwardness gripped the man, but there was no need for excuses. Ray should use potions to the maximum. He was always interested in their availability only to envoys. The guy will find out everything on himself. It was incredibly powerful, and all questions disappeared by themselves. Ray had never been at this level before, and his interest was overwhelming. A terrible pain pierced him, as if all his insides were being turned inside out. Jason was scared just looking at it. Audrey reported the good news. All the wounded were saved. She still doesn't believe that the Lord will obey anyone. The girl tries to anticipate all possible scenarios if Ray loses. Audrey is not going to submit to anyone. As a Lord, he will not allow the world's only savior to be attacked. But her head was filled with thoughts of all the energy she had wasted. Jason knows the girl too well to realize it's not her. Even without the ring, it was clear that the person standing before them was a white witch. She was going to use the poison on Ray, but in the end it would be Jason who would enjoy it. The double was always nearby. All the secrets were known to her. Even poisoned Jason will defend the hope of this world. The movements of the almost corpse amazed the witch. Unfortunately, the poison spreads too quickly. Audrey would be happy to put an end to all his suffering. Ray returned just in time to save another life. He entered the fight much stronger than he had been at the very beginning of his journey. Anyone who dares to threaten friends will be brutally killed. Soon the 5th ring will be in Ray's hands. Jason was fine despite the poison. The main thing was to fight the real witch. First, the guy has to deal with the dying Lord. Fortunately, the man was lucky enough to encounter a weak poison. There is nothing free in the world, and the guy would like to be paid for the treatment. He would have made a good robber, but Jason would come back to that later. Since the city's founding, the White Witch has been attacking them. The driver is responsible for the food, but the gray-haired woman ruined everything. He quickly lost control of the truck. Everything went as it should. Convoys of men were often attacked. The witch is not going to give up what she found herself. Ray didn't expect that the witch would turn out to be a simple thief, but unfortunately, then a hunt opened for the Lord's search ranks. Every day the enmity grew stronger. It was difficult to defeat such a force. It's their bad luck that they don't know where this witch is now. The treatment was successful, and April immediately went in search of the guy. The girl was not afraid to show her true emotions, and the parents were happy to be there and look at the sweet couple. For some reason, the parents were too cheerful. Ray didn't suspect anything until April got the courage to speak out. The guy was the only one in the girl's life who was always there. With all her being, April wants to be only with him. This is not the first time parents have seen girls confess their feelings for a guy. Such sincere feelings touch Jason too. The guy's future is too dangerous. Death is always on his heels. April doesn't care. She just wants to be near him. In his past life, the guy had no one, but now he is surrounded by loyal comrades. Thanks to the ring, he was able to experience true love. Luckily, April's feelings were mutual. As a result of this action, the Lord promised to conduct their wedding himself. A few days later, a festive atmosphere surrounded everyone. Luckily, thanks to Halsey's power, Maggie's sight was restored. Who would have thought that they would celebrate the wedding of their enemies? Tom himself would like to marry someone. The ceremony began. The Lord was happy to conduct it. It seemed that the weather was on the newlyweds' side and created a beautiful picture. A beautiful couple descended from the heavens. Maggie was happy to see everything with her own eyes. At such a wonderful moment, Wanda could hardly hide her envy of the couple. Finally, the destinies of Ray and April were intertwined. Jason announced the beginning of the best moment. Time for everyone to eat. Everyone had the opportunity to eat properly. Even after the wedding, Ray thought about his mission. But April, unlike him, didn't want to listen to all this at such a moment. She doesn't want to think about the future when she needs to live here and now. The goal of these creatures has not become any closer. Although the messengers have long since returned to Earth, it looks like we'll have to resort to extreme measures. But some people didn't like the idea of giving these cockroaches the right to choose. The idea of getting food from another world was lodged in his head. Besides, you can simply blow up the unsuitable messengers, but they can't do anything with the power of thought. One of them had already prepared options for getting through the hole. They were loyal servants of their empire. It was an honor for them to give their lives for the empire. However, they may have difficulty finding the 7 people. They can always feel the energy of the messengers. The servants were given the task of killing Ray. The next morning, Greg didn't miss the opportunity to make fun of his boss. Ray doesn't want to listen to anything. April is even more serious about such jokes. The relationship was established, so Jason wanted to help the savior. In the absence of her boyfriend, April will have to protect the city and her new family. Very soon the guy will have all 5 rings in his hands. The monsters surrounding him didn't frighten him at all. For this occasion he has some lovely shadows. With a war horse he will quickly reach his goal. At the base, the witch was looking forward to meeting Ray. The main assistants will bring the guy straight to her feet. Ray wishes he could be a barbarian and just barge into the witch's hut without warning. Before he could move, he was attacked. Even though it was harsh, the guy had a great reaction to it. Just one blow had already left Rachel's arm numb. She wasn't ready to fight such a strong guy. She had to use her trump card too quickly. Her dancing shadows will distract all the guy's attention. Rachel will not allow the general to meet an unworthy man. Ray is too fast for this fight. Boredom is getting the better of him. So the end has come for the girl's shadow. It was fun to watch the girl's efforts through the shield. Ray can't help but show her his other talents. The guy's body is invulnerable. You don't need to waste your energy on it. However, Rachel managed to impale the guy on the sword. It wasn't the first time she had fought with men. All their weaknesses had been studied. In a moment, there is neither horse nor guy. Finally, Rachel can report to the general. But what happened next didn't fit in her head. The water took her captive. You can't get rid of Ray. He can do this to everyone. Without a special ace up their sleeve, no one will be able to even hurt the guy. He supposedly allowed himself to be killed in order to find the real Rachel. Besides, these were 2 weak attacks against Ray. The guy has an excellent sense of foreboding. He reacted to the new attack with lightning speed. Leslie the Virgin came to provide support. She decided to go out to the guy herself so that no one else would get hurt. She can be called a white witch if her diet ever includes human blood. Now Ray doesn't have to hide his intentions. Loyal assistants are ready to die, if only everything would be well with their general. This only plays into the guy's hands. He doesn't like attacks from behind. Somehow, Walt's most powerful blow was intercepted. Leslie will figure it out on her own. Something tells her that the girl will be the winner in this battle. Ray knows from experience how often his instincts can be wrong. Leslie is determined to prove him wrong. The guy has a lot of experience in fighting, but this ability made him nervous. Only she can save this world. The dead soldiers surrounded the boy at one call. The guy might be the first one to get out of here alive. He has his own army, which is not inferior to the dead warriors. These were not all the surprises. An underground spirit of the earth appeared in the arena. She rushed at the guy in full force. The fight was serious. Henry's shadow quickly stopped everyone. Other shadows successfully absorbed attacks directed at the guy. It will be difficult for the spirit of the earth to cope with such a shadow. Leslie would never hand over the fate of all humanity to any man. She definitely has problems accepting men in the world. Ray doesn't like hearing how bad he is just because of his gender. To fight Leslie, you need to use all your strength. She would take great pleasure in cutting off a man's head. During the battle, everyone showed improvement in their skills. Their battle was beautiful. Every minute Ray did nothing but joke about the girl. This made her even more angry. The girl's powerful blow resulted in the separation of her head from her body. Finally, she will get all the rings. But she is unlucky. The head grows back into its rightful place perfectly. The guy has abilities that one can only dream of. He was quickly ready for the next round, unlike Leslie. Ray had to remind the girl that she was kind of trying to kill him. While they were dancing there, the armies continued to fight. Leslie has no right to give up when the warriors' battle continues. For the first time, the girl's body began to shake with fear, even though she had encountered much more terrifying monsters. Ray has been using water for too long. He needs to be shown other elements in action. The girl is shocked at just one look at the bully. Ray was better prepared for the new approach. Only now did the full gravity of the situation dawn on her. Ray won't fall for her cunning plan. Leslie was so confident, but she was scared to death because of some boy. In fact, Ray is kind and does not wish harm to anyone. It is unfair, in his opinion, to get rid of everyone because of one offender. He does not approve of such behavior. It looked like he was attacking Leslie, but then a new guy showed up. The girl didn't feel his energy at all. The servant is glad to meet talent in such a remote place. Having seen it all with their own eyes, they understand the concern about Ray. Leslie was going to kill the guy, but she will have to change her plans. The guy immediately felt the energies of beings from another dimension. It's unclear how they got here so quickly. Now there is a great opportunity to show yourself as the savior of the world. These words inspired the girl. Leslie looks tough, but inside she has a vulnerable soul. Each army was shown a new battle objective. The servants will willingly allow everyone to experience the heights for a while. It's time to show them what a true deity is capable of. It was strange that Leslie did not sense any strangers in her domain. How Ray wished his bad feeling was wrong. It seems that something terrible awaits him. With the help of the girl's magic, the army quickly disappeared. Somehow, Leslie's seemingly indestructible army perished. Lydia simply wiped them off the face of the earth. This situation threw Leslie's assistants off balance. They need to unite because there are no enemies among them. The real culprits appeared before them. Lydia had to wait for the rest of the messengers to carry out her plan. After some time, all the necessary people were gathered. The seed inside the boy was activated. Everyone expected something bad to come out of this. Now Lydia will be able to control everyone. They seemed to be floating in the clouds, but this was no time for jokes. In this state, they can't even move a finger. The creature, like a vacuum cleaner, takes away all the vital energy of people. There were agreements between some, but no one was going to keep them. Such naivety might have touched Lydia at one time, but not now. What bothers her most is the lack of desire among the chosen ones to develop. Lydia will not leave alive people who are incapable of anything. Everything that God had given them was taken from them by force. All their abilities were taken away from them. Even in this situation, Ray is determined to win. Spencer is on edge. He is ready to do anything just to survive. No one but him was going to beg for mercy. Before dying, the girl wants to save her pride. For the sake of salvation, Kevin has something important to share. He knows too much about rings, but the gods already know everything. They won't learn anything interesting. There is information in his head about killing a deity. There is nothing in the world that could harm the gods. Kevin didn't let up. Audrey herself would gladly kill this chatterbox. For such information, the deity may spare him. Kevin told everything honestly, but he was not destined to reach the end. The creature was close to solving the mystery, but the man in its arms was already dead. Ray can take on the role of narrator. Their power was taken away, but they did not calm down. The guy really enjoyed watching such a heart-rending scene. It's time for them to save people. The creature had good protection. Lydia sees that they are not the true target of the attack. The team needs a sphere, but even after this they cannot move. Leslie is strong, but it wasn't enough to destroy the sphere. Ray has a more interesting idea. Their sphere was under threat. The fate of the sphere fell on Ray's shoulders. Leslie would deal with the rest. The Earth Warrior is strong, but he also has his shortcomings. Leslie would never lose Lydia. For Lydia, this whole fight is like a warm-up. Leslie didn't expect her giant to break. People have no chance to defeat the deity. With her speed, Lydia has no trouble catching her victim off guard. She has no equal among people. Compared to her, people look more like cattle. She celebrated her victory too early. This comparison offended Leslie, so punishment is coming. Leslie wanted to attack, but in the end she was the one who got hurt. The surprise was further. It would be difficult to find the real Leslie. It would take a lot of effort to kill her. The girl isn't that easy to kill. The creature can easily kill people to preserve the sphere. The guy doesn't care about the lives of these people. He only wants to cut off the enemy's head. He would be happy to bring such a strong guy to the elders. All the people's steps were known, so it would be easy for him to attack him. But no one can predict Rei's actions. It's simply impossible to read. The guy's flame can appear anywhere and attack anyone. Thanks to his skill, he was able to save the innocent. This time, Rei needs to make every effort to win. Never before has a creature experienced such humiliation from a human. Only now did he really get angry. The guy was not prepared for this turn of events. The change in the sphere alarmed him. Life force began to rapidly drain from people. The guy is obliged to prevent the worst-case scenario. The deity will not allow the guy to succeed. Rei was confronted by a powerful force. Now it is impossible to approach him unless you want to turn to ashes. Unfortunately, the guy's blade was not able to survive this. It was a good moment for the guy to show off his full strength. It was difficult for the deity to believe his eyes. Rei's counterattack was not long in coming, and so an unexpected death from a mortal came for the deity. Even before his death, he intends to repay the debt for his salvation. In the past, the unfortunate child was offered the help he so desperately needed. Finally, Rei did his job. This was an important step for the sacrifice. The people were never helped. Life was leaving them with every passing minute. The guy killed him, but the number of problems only increased. Spiritual embodiment will not hinder him. Rei can't do anything with this sphere at all. He tries to strike, but it doesn't do any good. Not only the blade was used, but also water magic. It was a beautiful picture in the sky, but at the same time the situation was terrible. It's time for Lydia to be freed from captivity. This sacrifice will not be in vain. Lydia will fix everything. But before that, we need to deal with the annoying clones. She still has a couple of trump cards against the humans. Lydia was the second part of the sacrifice. Everything was changing too quickly before the guy's eyes. The water power he summoned was quickly absorbed without causing any damage. The more powers the guy uses, the stronger the sphere becomes. The girl was living her last minutes of life. Even the guy can't do anything. The situation is critical. Before her death, she was most concerned about her own appearance. But even in this state, the guy saw only beauty in her. In an instant, she fell apart in Rei's hands. No matter how strong a guy is, he is of no use. Everyone felt with their skin how the space had changed. Somehow a huge eye appeared in the sky. There is only hope of winning if Rei has the last 5th ring. Leslie was too scared of her eye to think clearly. They had no choice, so the girl obeyed him. Now you can start a new round. Rei finally had everything he needed to win. It is unknown what will happen to the guy next, but he has some small obligations. Leslie will do whatever a guy asks her to do. She cannot let down someone who decided to fight the monster alone. Only these two remained on the battlefield. There is no need for them to drag their feet any longer. Victory must come quickly. It was a moment to test the driving forces of this world. From the outside, this battle resembled the explosion of a nuclear bomb. But in these difficult times, it is difficult to believe in such an explosion. It didn't immediately dawn on them that their loved one was at the epicenter. Jason barely holds them back from certain death. The surprises didn't end there. A girl who was too fast appeared in the sky. Even with her skills, it was difficult for her to cover such a large area. It was unexpected for them to see the one whom Rei had gone to look for. Leslie is no longer their enemy. She urgently needs help. Due to the absence of her brother, Maggie cannot think of anything. They have serious problems that need to be solved together. While they were here, the guy continued to fight for everyone. Rei's body can't take it anymore. The power of the elements is destroying him. In any case, the only thing left to do is attack. The guy's attacks hit their target, but soon there will be nothing left of him. He was already on the threshold of his second death. Images of his beloved wife flashed before his eyes. The boy remembered how Maggie called him lovingly. They all became the guy's new family. Because of them, he can't afford to give up so easily. In this life, he has people for whom he can die. This time the eye felt pain. But what happened next cannot be described in words. Those who had been hiding all this time appeared in the sky. Rei wanted to die to take out one, but there were too many of them. The world will definitely collapse if such a strong guy gives up. He needs the full commitment of the rings to win. He is ready to sacrifice himself even without the possibility of revival. Such death did not frighten him. He was ready for it. It was the first time he had felt this, but it was worth it. All the elements had to be combined with each other. Finally, Rei said goodbye to this world. In the end, he managed to close the passage. But nothing is over yet. Rei spent all of himself, but there was no point. He was already dead, so he didn't care about the voice in his head. The only thing that upset him was the lack of victory for humanity. The voice in his head could leave him so depressed. It was not just an illusion. The deity itself was addressing him. Somehow his ruined body was okay. He still has a chance to save everyone. He needs to return to the world of the living to fight. Only in this case should he rely only on himself. He should undergo trials that will make him even stronger. Ray can't refuse this, no matter what danger awaits him. An ordinary person here would have long since turned to ashes, but not this guy. Without abilities, Ray's physical skills remained unchanged. The first to face trial by fire is his. Something here was trying to break free. It was happy to escape from captivity. Now nothing holds it back. It's scary that the lava monster knows the guy's name. Ray can't think straight here. This monster was imprisoned by the hands of a guy, and thanks to him it was freed. Now he can take revenge for the opportunities he took away. The monster will make the guy experience the full range of hellish suffering. And at that moment, Ray had no strength. The chances of success are slim, but in reality all is not lost. He is ready to receive all possible wounds, just to win. The monster waited a long time to release all his rage. For the sake of her loved ones, Ray will go to the end. The lava monster was too strong. It will be difficult to defeat the embodiment of fire itself when there are no abilities. Only a monster has the right to save this world. It was just a test. The guy just needs to find a way to pass it. The deity likes the strength and unbending core of the guy. The monster intends to subject the boy to excruciating torture. At some point, the monster's weakness was discovered. Now the enemy will beg for mercy. It was difficult, but Ray had only one chance to win. The situation has turned out in such a way that the monster may now die. But he will do everything to ruin the guy's life. Ray had no intention of falling with the monster. There was too much drama, which saved the guy. He was one step away from death, but luck was on his side. Unfortunately, the ordeal never ended. A girl has come from heaven, from whom you don't know what to expect.